Chiclets fans, Biz here. We want you to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And just maybe, if enough of you subscribe, we'll put out more original content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 398 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. Unrestricted free agency opened last week. All kinds of bombs dropped, all kinds of news to get to. But, of course, we got to say hi to the fellas first. Mikey Grinelli, huge week for you. The Chiclets Cup this week in Buffalo. What do we got?
Yeah, Chiclets Cup week is finally here. Been looking forward to this for a very long time. Very, very, very excited. Excited to play. Excited to see everyone. But most importantly, I think I'm most excited for our announcement that will be coming Thursday. So stay tuned to the Chiclet social channels for that.
Will do. Yeah, there's some big news. I can't wait for it. Next up, Paul, that's a different background for you. Biz Nasty, Bissonette. Is that a Bob Orr jersey I spy?
That is a Bob Orr jersey. My friends here at Young Insurance in Welland allowed me to use their Wi-Fi while I'm in Welland, the dub dot, Welland, Ontario. So big thank you to them. Tyler Bilby, my friend who won the Sutherland Cup with the St. Catharines Falcons, set it all up.
What's the Sutherland Cup, like Junior B or something?
Yeah, Junior B, like the Golden Horseshoe. And then when you win the Golden Horseshoe, you move on to like
you get the Golden Shower.
You get the do it. I mean, I don't know what they're doing after after they win the celebration with. I don't know what the fuck you're up to, bringing up the golden showers. But no, I've been back home visiting with family. It's been a great time. I actually did a couple Pink Whitney appearances. I did the Lake House one and the Mansion House. So big thank you to their staffs, all the people that showed up. I tell you what, these kids, they still like their fucking pictures. They love the pictures, man.
Biz, so funny you brought this up.
There was one kid who came up and he was like, no, I don't want a picture. Just wanted to say hi, shoot the shit a little bit. I said, fuck, we need more kids like you in the next generation, my friend.
So just, was it Friday or Saturday? I was talking to somebody and they were kind of asking about like our season and the trips. I was mentioning we're going to Buffalo and they were like, oh, like everyone kind of just wants pictures now, huh? I was like, yeah. I was like, it actually drives Biz kind of crazy, where Biz has always said to me, dude, I'd rather just shoot the shit with somebody than like take a picture. Everyone wants to do the picture. Whereas I'm like, oh, the picture's quicker. I'm down to chuck a deuces and take a pic. But you've always kind of been somebody who said, I'd rather really sit and chat with somebody quickly than do a picture. And you're sticking to that.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's just a little bit more bizarre nowadays where everybody wants to show people what they've done as opposed to maybe telling them. I don't know if their friends won't believe that they came to the Pink Whitney party and we just shot the shit, but I get that it's all part of it. I'm not going to go full Paul McCartney on him and say, because I think that's his rule, right? All right.
I thought it was,
No, Paul McCartney's rule is I ain't fucking taking a picture. I'll have a conversation with you, but he refuses to do it. Hey, listen, I ain't fucking.
I think Bill Russell wouldn't sign autographs. He'd have a conversation and shake your hand.
Wow,
dude,
we're going
to
extremes here.
I'll do it all. I'm just saying is I'd much rather just have a conversation. I just don't understand the picture thing. Especially when I've already gotten one and then they come back around where I'm like, buddy, like how many have we taken now? Like, can the other people maybe get one and maybe just come over and have a little bit of a conversation? So, hey, listen, I'm just happy at the fact that they showed up and fully supported the Pink Whitney tour, the Biz's Pink Whitney expedition, as they're calling it. And now that we're talking about it, before your ad read on Pink Whitney RA, now the Western tour dates starting Tuesday, August 9th.
Baby.
Brandon, Manitoba, Joe Beavers in the afternoon. August 9th, that night on the Tuesday in Winnipeg at Underdogs. August 10th, the next day in Regina at Ballers Rec Room in the afternoon. Then it's off to Saskatoon at Hudson's. And that's in the evening. On the 11th of August, Edmonton Brew House. August 12th, Red Deer Wine and Beyond. I believe that one's going to be a bottle signing and not so much of a bar appearance. August 13th in Calgary, Wine and Beyond afternoon, and then Brew House in the night. And then August 19th in Vancouver at the local gas town. And then August 20th in Langley signing BCL and and evening at Sammy J's. So I got a lot more going on as far as the Western tour. We have 2 stops at least in every single province starting in Manitoba. So I'm excited to see all of you. I'm excited to take pictures with you. And once again, I want to thank everybody at Mansion House and the Lake House for the first 2 appearances in Toronto. And of course, the whole staff that helps us out with this Pink Whitney tour, including our boy G here. You've been a fucking beast. Not only that, but lining up everything Chiclets Cup related. And if I could just mention one thing about Chiclets Cup, this fucking nose face fucker has assembled an absolute wagon of a team. He's went over to, I believe, one member of the Greece national team, a member of the Italian national team.
He's like LeBron.
He is like LeBron. He's
hated that much.
Well,
not
like,
only hated that
players.
much, but no loyalty to the guys who helped him win not only the first one in Detroit, but then he wagon hopped and brought in new guys for the one in Vegas, and now he's completely ditched them. He is a coward. Terry Ryan has brought in a few new faces for our team to bolster our roster. We have found a goaltender, and we have found a guy who's been banned from national competitions for beating up a guy on the Czech national team.
Yes.
And apparently a few punches thrown at the referees trying to break up that fight. Buffalo Chiclets Cup will be the biggest fucking shit show that the ball hockey world has ever seen. Grinelli, the venue that you picked at Buffalo Riverworks, it couldn't be any more glorious. We have 2 perfect roller rinks with sport court. There is a massive bar. There's a huge dance floor with a stage where Boston Levi is going to be playing on the Friday night, as well as Dante DJing. That party is open to anyone in Buffalo. If you are anywhere near the region, come one, come all. And you just mentioned it right before, G, about Thursday night. This is going to be closed off, but we're going to be at the Labatt Brew House, where one of the biggest announcements in Chiclets history will be announced. Say announced one more time, you fucking idiot. And I am super pumped for that to kick off the weekend. We're not going to get too buckled at that with the boys because we have business to take care of against Noseface, that caramel nose fuck. I think I've rambled on long enough.
I am fired up.
It's
I'm
going to be
fired up for Buffalo.
It's going to be unbelievable.
Somebody still might sucker you too. That'd be awesome.
I don't give a fuck as long as they show up.
I am just so looking forward to the games because they keep getting better and better, and I'm always right on the bench. I'm right in between 2 benches, usually helping open the door and kind of helping like fire you guys up as the game goes along. So, yeah, this is going to be big time. I haven't even checked the forecast because I'm afraid to. Grinelli, have you?
We're not mentioning the forecast at all. I don't want to jinx it. Sean texted me the other day. We might have a nice week. I'm not jinxing it.
Shit.
So we're not mentioning the
Honestly,
F word.
I think it would be just as fun, if not even more entertaining, if it's just an absolute garbage weather. Because then it's just like it's like the British Open of fucking Chiclets Cup, except for this British Open. That was,
It's
like,
going to
beautiful.
be a muck fest regardless. Bring
You're
on
a mutter.
rain.
His father was a mutter. His mother was a mutter.
You want to talk about a muck fest, Biz? The Barstool team, we lost Rudy. We lost Riggs, and we lost Patrick Sharp.
Oh, Jesus.
We went
You
up
lost your
2
3 best
divisions,
players.
too. We are so fucked. I don't know if we'll win a game.
Well, with that mentality,
I don't know if you'll
are.
score a goal.
Yeah, I'll score a few.
Well, RA, I'm going to send it back over to you. I think I touched on the Pink Whitney tour.
Yes,
I touched on Chiclets Cup.
you
I
did.
touched on being back home in Welland.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't touched on your ingrown wiffle,
Oh.
but we get to that with our special guest, Johnny Gaudreau.
My what?
Oh.
Your ingrown wiffle?
What the fuck does that mean? The salad I had after you embarrassed me with the Battle of Alberta?
I think you're like 2 weeks away from it looking awesome. You're just in that in-between stage.
What do you mean? My fucking hair looks incredible. I got the playoff beard going too. One other thing I wanted to mention is after those events, we had memes show up. We had Fish, one of our videographers, who's actually
Fish looked like a character.
he is something else. I tell you, I'm going to tell you what he did after this. And Rick Carlson. I don't know how many of you know Rick Carlson, but this is Memes' right-hand man who he's always booting around with. This guy couldn't be any more useless, but I kind of want him at every single thing that we do moving forward. He brings nothing to the table so incredibly that I want
nothing, correct?
nothing. He does nothing.
I guess
He
he's
is-
a really good goalie, though. I guess he's like an incredible hockey goalie.
but he just looks like this majestic character, even more so than maybe memes. And his getup that he was wearing at these events, the ladies were locked into him. So maybe that's why we bring this guy around. One thing he did say he can do, though, he's going to be my professional blunt roller. And he even offered which is kind of cool.
Can't roll one to save his life. If anyone's ever smoked an RA joint, you will not feel one thing. I don't know what he does. I don't know how he does it. But
you know what he's doing?
Smokes every day.
He's preparing us to play in a band, the trumpet in the band, because you got to go.
I'm filling my woodwind section in. Yeah, I rolled a couple
just so I can get maybe a little bit high. You roll the tightest joints I've ever seen. All right.
Oh my God!
And I thought I really loosened up since
I pulled my neck one time.
I don't know. What's that?
He pulled his neck.
I legitimately had a herniated disc from sucking down on one of your I don't even know what you call those things.
Yeah. But the good news is, RA, is I think we're going to put Ricky Carlson on maybe a per diem pack salary for the road trips, and he will be rolling our blunts from now on. And he said that he could drive throughout the Western Tour. Now, I don't know if I want to put our lives at risk, but should we give him a chance to be
I would not be shocked if that kid doesn't even have a license. Would not be shocked one bit.
Because he's useless. But going back
to the best useless person ever, though, right?
So going back to Fish. So we go out to a meal after the second event at Mansion House, and we order a bunch of drinks, and my Guinness comes up, and he gives it the octopus fingers, touches all over where I would put my, and then he slides it over, and the lady's got the other Guinness, because he ordered one too. And I said, Fish, pass me that one. And you could see the confused look on his face. I go, buddy, I don't want to get the fucking next variant of COVID because you just touched. And he says, I didn't touch the foam. And I said, I understand, but you just gave my drink the claw. So anywhere I put my lips, I'm touching I'm sucking on your fingers.
You'd almost rather him give me the finger in the drink than on where your lips are going.
Mine as well. He should have stirred my drink with his dick. I would have rather that than him give it the claw that he did.
Saw that at a rookie party in LA. I remember. Oh my God. Guy just whipped out his hog and stirred up a cranberry vodka for some girl with it. It was so funny, dude.
And he served it to a girl?
Yeah, she loved it.
And then some guy at one, I'll go back to Fishy, and Fish was perplexed that I asked for the other drink too. So we can maybe have a debate about how he gave my my drink the fish hook.
Why don't you give Whit an intro?
We're going to toss it over. I know I've been long-winded here. Somebody come up to me and goes, hey, Biz, I remember when you said on the podcast, asked me about the Sergei Fedorov.
That was me.
No shit. And he's trying to tell me it was me. I go, I guarantee it was Whit. And it was a story that you said about Sergei Fedorov at a strip club that you can't tell.
No, at Bruckheimer.
Okay. All right. So anybody who wants to ask Whit about that story, you can ask him. It was not me who brought it up on the podcast. So, all right, I'll throw it back over to you. A little bit preposterous move by Fish. So he's on waivers right now.
Yeah, so he basically did this to give you his drink, which is so disgusting. I'd rather have him put his mouth around it and hand it to you.
Not to mention, I could just slide right off your fingers if it happens to be wet or whatever. That's just tough.
His rebuttal was, I didn't touch the foam on top.
Yeah. Fish. Yeah. He's so dumb.
Come on, Fish.
I've never met him.
Oh. Well, Biz, you just mentioned it. You kicked off the Great Canadian Pink Whitney expedition last week to spread the gospel, but you don't need to chase you around Canada for a shot at the old birdie juice. Just hit up your local package store or head over to your favorite bar, get some Pink Whitney, whack back a shot, have some club soda, whatever. Either way, enjoy some of that delicious Pink Whitney now that summer is in full swing. And the man behind it, Ryan the Wit Dog. Whitney, what's going on, buddy? What you do all weekend?
Not much. I didn't do too much. Couple things. Okay, yeah. First off, I want to shout out. I remember, I think last week I mentioned in how poorly I played in the Mass Am. The kid Connor Willett. I think it's Willett. So his dad passed away suddenly on the weekend, and he still played. Dude, the kid fucking won it all. He won the whole friggin' tournament. I think he's a freshman at Georgetown, or he's going to Georgetown. Just like an incredible story. I saw it made ESPN, made ESPN's top 10 plays. So goes out, gets like a top seed, wins 1 match, 2 match, 3 match, 4 match, and then the final match, 36 holes. Gets it done. What a run. Congratulations to that kid. Still feel so sorry for his family, what they gone through, but what an amazing story kind of throughout the week to get to follow as a local Massachusetts golfer. I think everyone around, even if you didn't golf, ended up hearing the story. It was all over the news and stuff. So that was the first thing I wanted to shout out. Myself on the weekend, Saturday, I played in the semifinals of the club championship against the kid Billy Argus, who actually went to the final 4 of the Mass Am. He mopped me, lost on 15. I think I had 2 ripped snap hooks out of bounds. Game was a mess. On the other hand, though, today something clicked, and I went and practiced before this show because Biz and I are filming a sandbagger in Buffalo on Wednesday, so that should be out at some point in the near future, and I had to get my game tight, and something clicked. So shout out to me. And what else did I do? Oh, God damn it, did this crack me up. So Wollaston Golf Club, they have a kids camp going, and they hadn't had it in recent years. Now, granted, COVID had fucked everything up. I don't even know if before that they had one in a while. So a lot of the parents kind of got together this winter, and they were talking to the people who work at the clubs like, hey, we want to have a camp for the kids, right? Like, you want the kids, you can do an hour tennis, hour golf, hour swimming, hour extracurricular activity. Like, so they're all trying to plan this. And I guess like my wife was one of the people doing it throughout the winter, and at one point, the pro's like, so let me get this straight. You guys just want to like drop your kids off at like 8:39 and pick them up at 2? They're like, yes, that's exactly what we want to do. So it started maybe a week ago. This was Ryder's first week. It's unreal. They're doing an incredible job. Like I said, an hour of everything, hour of extracurricular. You go swimming. It's an absolute blast. You pick up the kids. They love it. So I go pick up Ryder one day, and I'm talking to one of the pros there. Now, they help out. All the assistant pros are helping out with the golf, and the tennis guys helping out with the tennis. And they're like, hey, so Ryder, I got to tell you what he said today. I'm like, oh, Jesus. He's in the cart with this guy, and he's calling his friends poopy heads. Like, Fallon, you're a poopy head. Like, whatever. I don't know. He's 4 years old. Ridiculous.
I still say it.
So the guy's like, hey, Ryder, you can't say that. Don't, it's not nice. It's a bad word to say that to people. And he goes, that's not a bad word. Fuck's a bad word. The guy was like, what? I was like, what?
Bad boy Ryder.
But he was kind of right. I mean, poopy face is not a bad word.
Yeah. No, it's not.
So occasionally when the F-bomb gets dropped in our household, I say, that's an adult word. Do not say that. It's a bad word. So he knew. So that cracked me up. And then Saturday night, we went and saw Top Gun.
Oh, I still haven't.
No way.
No, I haven't got to it yet.
Oh, dude. Yeah. It is so good. And obviously going in, I knew there's a touch of corniness. It is what it is, right? But overall, like, I have not enjoyed a film that much in a theater. And I haven't been to many movies since COVID. I haven't been to a theater that often. What a fucking experience. I'm telling you, I can't really imagine anyone going to this movie and leaving and not enjoying it. So I thought you'd seen it, RA, because I was going to talk about a couple of different things.
That's disrespect, RA, to your former co-host.
I know.
Of the town.
Fuck?
I was going to see it at the IMAX. It was there for like 2 days. So I
saw it in IMAX theater.
Which one?
Boston Common. Isn't that IMAX?
No.
Would I have to have 3D glasses on?
There's IMAX, then there's IMAX with 3D, but that's like an IMAX, but it's not like a full IMAX theater like the one up in Reading at the
I don't know, all right. The way I saw this thing was sick.
It says AMC Boston Common has IMAX and IMAX 3D.
Oh,
I didn't do 3D, but I think it was IMAX. I'm pretty sure it was IMAX because the love music. But when when that starts, I was fired up. I was so fired up watching this movie. I actually think Miles Teller, he might be top in the game for me acting. I think he's just phenomenal.
On a heater.
I just enjoy. I loved him in the Drum movie.
Whiplash, phenomenal.
Oh, what a movie! I loved him in War Dogs. I loved him in There's another flick he crushed it in. He's just he seems like a great guy too. He really does. For not knowing somebody, I truly think he's a good dude.
He just played in that Pro-Am out Lake Tahoe.
Oh, and he crushed it in the show about The Godfather, The Offer. That's the one I just watched. He's great.
He's great.
I think he's good buddies with Aaron Rodgers. Like they go on vacation together, and I think they were golfing with Pat McAfee at that PGA Tour. Is it?
I know. I gotta get in that. Everyone
event?
writes me. How do you get in that tournament? I don't know. I've written to him. I've tweeted at him once. They didn't sniff me. I asked Oshie to ask. He's like, dude, I got no pull, so I don't think I'll ever get in that.
You know what?
I could win that fucking thing.
You know where I got maybe a little bit of pull, and I caddied for Shane Doan in it was the Waste Management Pro-Am. If you'd want to do that one with the 16th hole.
So for people who don't know, I'm going to be out. Chiclets is going to be at the Waste Management this year. I'm moving to Scottsdale for 3 weeks, starting the Sunday before the Waste Management and for the next 3 weeks, including the Super Bowl and Waste Management. So I can't wait. So maybe we finagle our way into that.
Now, RA, I got to ask you about another movie and another, probably the biggest man rocket on the planet right now. This guy who played Elvis.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't let my girlfriend
Who is
in
it?
the same room.
Austin
as this
Butler.
guy. I don't know, but he is buddy.
There's a hot guy in Top Gun too.
You're gonna have a half chub the rest of the podcast. This guy's an absolute missile launcher. All right, have you seen it?
No, I'll probably watch that when it comes on video. Baz Luhrmann, he's a good director, but he's not necessarily my cup of tea. But I haven't seen it yet. But going back to Miles Teller, he's played Vinny Pazienza and Bleed for this. The boxer from Providence, he broke his neck, came back after breaking his neck.
Good movie. Very good movie.
Yeah, it's a good take. And also, too, Maverick Top Gun just became the largest ever grossing movie in Paramount history. Obviously, tickets are a lot more nowadays, but it's made the most money ever by any movie ever released by Paramount.
Fucking rights hammer.
Dude, my wife leaned over me in the middle of the movie and she just goes, Tom Cruise is so out of his mind. Like, he's just an insane human being. You look at his face and he's just fucking nuts. And I think he does his own stunts, right?
Oh, yeah.
He learned how to fly a helicopter for whatever Mission Impossible was a couple movies ago. And like the stunts he did, like they said, like the average guy takes like months, if not years, to learn how to fly like that. He did it in like a crash course in like a few weeks. And I mean, if he fucks up, he's dead. You know what I mean? Like that's so crazy.
I'm telling you, I want to see Top Gun again. I saw it 2 days ago. I want to go see it again.
What's the most you've ever seen the same movie in theaters? Mine's Man on Fire.
I've never been to a movie twice.
I went to see Man on Fire 3 times.
No way.
I saw Miracle 5 times when it was in theaters.
In theaters?
5 times.
No way.
100%. Can ask my mom.
That's a bit psycho, but I respect it.
Massachusetts.
I saw Goodfellas 3 times. The 3's usually like might probably max to see in a theater at this point, but I saw Goodfellas 3 times. I think I saw Pulp Fiction 3 times.
I also I've said many times that I think with Breaking Bad and another show that was one of my top shows, maybe Sopranos, the first time I went to watch the first episode, I shut it off. And I did this a few times and recently am now into Yellowstone. It was the same thing. I remember the first episode of Yellowstone, 30 minutes in, I was like, fuck this. And now I'm hooked. I'm on episode 6 of season 1. Great show.
I heard it gets a little preposterous now.
So that's the only worry right now is it has a little bit of the like Sons of Anarchy, like kind of like it's like even early in the show, you're like, what? That's happening. Yeah, but I can deal with that.
Every time I tell somebody I bought a lot in Jackson, they're like, yeah, I've seen Yellowstone too. That's everybody just chirps me with it. I'm like, I've actually never seen it. Now, I have to go back to the Pink Whitney event one more time for one of the wildest stories I've ever heard. And there was video evidence of it. So a junior kid comes up to me and he goes, I found out that my mom was getting thumped by one of my coaches and she hit my dad.
What?
So he had his friend video it where the kid ended up going to confront the guy and he walks over as the guy is going into the rink and he knocks him out cold. He walk in, buddy.
What the fuck? And you watched the video.
He tells me it. You're kind of like, shows me the video
awkward almost.
I'm like, did you tell your? He goes, yep. He goes, I fucking knocked them out, and I went home and I fucking told my dad it was going on, and now they're divorced, and
holy shit,
buddy, I was he
dude,
fucking,
what a dirtbag coach.
Yeah, not good. I mean, no wonder he was getting
the mom too. The mom's a scumbag too.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, that goes
maybe she was trying to get him some fucking PP time. I don't know. Maybe that's how I ended up getting.
She was getting his PP.
That's how Biz got drafted.
Fuck you.
There was a guy named Paul high up.
Just the whole coaching staff running train. Fucking. Yeah, I guess we can get him out there on the second unit.
Oh, imagine your most hated coach. Like, imagine if I found out Randy was just hammering my mom.
Oh my God.
It's like, wow, this is how I put up with your fucking outlet passes, Whit, you fucking asshole.
Turn it over one more time, and now you turn over.
I respected the kid for coming up and telling me. And like normally when someone's like, "Hey, I got a story to tell you," you're like, "Oh, here we go." Like fucking, you know, you're put
that's
on my
ridiculous.
act. And I'm gonna turn into John Hamm here to pretend I actually like this one. My
was
jaw
it a straight up sucker punch too?
Oh yeah, he fucking floored him. And then the other coach stepped in and completely separated him. And mind you, I'm in this Young's insurance office and there's ladies like filing papers right now, probably wondering why this guy's yelling about guys.
She's like, I thought this was a hockey podcast.
Shout out to Young's Insurance.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's wild too. Just because, like, I mean, most guys probably just tell the kids to tell the father or whatever, but it's like actually fucking blast the guy. Dude.
I'm gonna beg to get this video so we can put it on the Spittin Chiclets. Maybe get memes.
Dude, we have to get that video up. I at least want to see it.
Oof, that's
would you have reacted the same way? Would you have
actually, like, honestly, all joking aside, that makes me like so sad. Like I don't even know. Like if you found that out that your like mom was like cheating on your dad, like the fact that he knew the guy, yes, you would like to think you'd be angry enough that you just go straight up sucker him, but it's still probably pretty fucking rattling for the kid to hear that, you know.
And I wonder what he said to his mother, because, hey, you know, it takes two to tango. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
You know, like, I don't know how that worked. Oh, that's crazy, dude. Oof, fucking therapy time.
It just sunk in. I'm at a loss for words now. Yeah,
Jesus Christ. We got to mix it up here.
Like, dude, I'm trying to give people a taste of Pink Whitney. Leave me alone.
By the way, that story was brought to you by none other than Pink Whitney, the pink lemonade flavored vodka. I wonder what other interesting stories I'm going to hear on this tour.
Oh, geez.
That was brought to you by Pink Whitney and AshleyMadison.com. If you're looking for a separate whack from your wife, check out this site.
Jesus Christ.
Check the game notes.
So Chiclets is more or less the end of our season, I guess. I mean, I know the NHL season's been over. We've had free agency. We had the draft. That's pretty much symbolic for the end of our season. Then we're going to kind of downshift in August. Going to have a bunch of interviews still. You're going to get a whole bunch of awesome interviews we got in the bank right now. But you boys doing any vacations, any trips or whatever for August? What do you got?
No, I'm going to be actually arguing with TD Bank in my off time about these fucking withdrawal fees. You want to grind my gears?
I don't get hit by those. You got to be you should be, dude, with the amount of money you have, you got to be with a bank that doesn't hit you with those.
So if, you know, when you go pay bills online, and in my situation, you have to do it through the checking account. So if you do it through the savings account, they hit you with a $5 withdrawal fee. So this is a bit of a humble brag. I keep $100K in my TD account, in my checking account, just as like a safety valve in Canada. Like, you know, if all of a sudden your parents need money or whatever it is. And then I have a little bit in the checking, and I just pay my house bills or whatever it is, you know, heating here, you know, water bill here, Why are you laughing? All right. The humble brag.
Just on fire today. I'm just laughing.
Just him explaining how bills get paid.
So sometimes I feel like I click the checking account because I'm aware. So, okay, maybe I forgot to check the other box, and all of a sudden, because I'm paying the bill through my savings account, not my checking account, you want to hit me with a $5 withdrawal fee? Fuck you.
And I have all my money in your bank, and you're hammering. It's bullshit, dude.
Fuck you. Enough with the withdrawal fees. Listen, Young's Insurance is going to lose their mind. I keep dropping F-bombs in here, but that RA, and I hate to steal your thunder with the grind my gears, if I get one more withdrawal fee.
I get my ATM fees back from my bank. Like if I go down to the bank's not under the umbrella.
That's what I was taught. That's what I meant already. I didn't. I don't know about the withdrawal fees. I'm
going to be suckering a teller, just like my buddy from the junior team catching his old lady getting thumped by the assistant coach for some PP time.
Gee,
look out, TD tellers.
Look like you got to chime in, G. You got a vacation on tap for August or what?
Yes, a long-awaited vacation going down to Italy, actually.
Oh, yeah, you were going to do that a while ago, right?
Yeah. I was going to go a couple years ago, but the pandemic happened and haven't really been able to travel for the past 2 years with the old lady. But we're going to Positano, the whole Amalfi Coast. We're going to hit Calabria, Capri.
Buddy, I'm so jealous.
If you don't have a Manzito on, Instagramming it up all over your stories.
What's a Manzito?
That's fucking Speedo.
Oh shit!
Gee, you got to get a Speedo. You should be drinking Aperol. Aperol
Spritzes. Oh yeah.
Oh,
We'll be
What
all
are
over it.
those?
Oh,
It's
What the
prosecco.
fuck? I'm such a
Prosecco and then a little bit of
apple juice.
cranberry.
all right,
that
you're the
sounds
drink
cool.
guy.
Ari doesn't know it's not an IPA that he can slug down before the show.
Yeah, prosecco. I didn't get too many when I bartended many moons ago. I don't even know if I ever made a prosecco when I bartended.
It is a Aperol Spritz is prosecco, a little bit of bitter and soda water.
Gee, I actually just said, done deal. We're gonna go to Italy. I've never been. I've always wanted to go. We're gonna go for the Ryder Cup next year in 2023. It's in Rome. So that'll I'll be able to talk to you because I want to hit up. I want to do Amalfi Coast. I heard Lake Como is almost not necessary to do. Yeah. So like I'm gonna talk to you after. That's great. When are you guys going?
August 2nd we leave, I believe, and I'm so excited. The best part is my girlfriend's family has a house there, so I'm staying for free in Calabria, which is unbelievable. We have the family tour guide. They're gonna show us around. It's gonna be incredible.
You should fly through Pearson to go there.
Rather kill myself.
What about you, Whit? I know you're always gallivanting anyways, but anything on tap while we're on a little?
No, I'll just go last week of August and first week of September. Like so, last week of August and then Labor Day going to Nantucket. I see. I'm not. It's funny. I was talking to a couple hockey guys about this. I don't like traveling in the summer, and because it's the only nice months here.
I agree with you.
So
on
it's
this,
like
Whit.
it's like I don't want to be away when the only basically time I enjoy being in the Boston area is July, August, September, October. So it's also very hard. The aspect of it is like, I want to take my wife away. Like she's been at home all year. Like we've been traveling all throughout the season for Chiclets. So then the season ends and it's like, all right, I want to be here. So I kind of have to fight between like really not wanting to go and her wanting to go somewhere. So I was thinking of maybe somewhere like later September before we really get going. I think, have we mentioned where we're going to kick off the season? Are we not mentioning that yet? Okay. We're not mentioning that yet. We're going to kick off the season somewhere we won't say now, but maybe later September, I'll take her away somewhere. London would be cool. Go see a Chelsea game, play a little golf over there. But I don't know.
You are something else, buddy.
What?
Every time a trip with the lady, anniversary, 10 rounds of golf in the 7 days that you're there. Like, I mean, she might as well just go by herself.
No, it's not as bad as you think. It's not as
Okay.
bad as you think.
Check the weather before you go, man. I looked Spain and Portugal. They got like 115-degree weather right now. It's fucking crazy.
Well, yeah, it's fucking end of July. It's like 115 everywhere, isn't it?
Not, dude. If you left Boston and went due fucking east across the Atlantic, you hit either like Spain or Portugal. They're on the same like latitude line as us, yeah. And I guess there's like hot air coming up from the Sahara, but 116 degrees in Portugal, that's obscene. That's like 116 here almost. Like,
and they don't even wear deodorant over there.
I wouldn't leave my hotel room.
Tough scene. I'm looking forward Biz Vermont, my annual trip. We missed it last year. Remember that was the first time we did trivia, and I was buckled.
Oh my goodness!
And
were you ever crippled?
we ran the table on Brandon Walker and PFT comment.
Were you? That's where I saw you in Saratoga too. Don't you shoot over there on one of those days that you're in Vermont?
Yeah, it's about an 80-minute ride all through the back road. You don't even get in the highway at all. It's a nice scenic view. We'll probably do that again this year. But I love going up there. It's like calm city. It's wicked quiet. There's nothing there. It's not like a touristy place at all. I'm honestly going to try to like limit myself to like an hour a day on social media. Obviously, you got to use the internet to watch TV and shit, but I'm going to try to like unplug a lot and just try to read some books and I don't know.
That's fair. I think we all need to. It's been a long season. We went on a huge ripper. We got some awesome interviews, bank guys. We're going to take a little time off and we're going to come back, recharge, and have another wagon of a season next year. Before we throw it over to the hockey talk.
Oh, I thought that was the show. Good show, guys.
No. Sneaky banger. My buddy Callahan put me onto this band. And, at first I was like, they are unreal. Their name is Ten Fay, TEN.
If you say FAY.
No, F, and then it's the E with the accent aigu on it. And listen to the song Super Rich. That's my sneaky banger. And you can listen to their whole latest album. I think they released it just before COVID hit. And I don't believe that they've toured yet, but an incredible album and a great band. I recommend them. Ten Fay, super rich. Check it out. Sneaky banger of the day. Do you guys have any or no?
No, I gotta start coming prepared with sneaky bangers.
These nights by Loud Luxury. Unbelievable song. Incredible.
Okay.
These nights.
It's brand new. Just came out last Friday. Incredible.
As in D's nuts?
These
I
motherfuckers.
I love when people name theirs in the comments and like "Stairway to Heaven," like fucking all these like. It's like, dude, that's not a sneaky banger. It was number one for like 17 years. Like, come
Thank
on.
you. All
A little
right.
more
Thank you.
A little more
Thank you.
creativity, but all right, boys, enough vacation talk. We still have work to get to here, and we'd already mentioned it. Johnny Gaudreau is our guest today. He shocked the hockey world the other day. He signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets, inked a 7-year, $68.25 million deal. Comes out to $9.75 million cap hit. This is not a team people thought he was going to at all. We didn't hear about it till very late. And Gaudreau, I just said 5 players have more points than him since the 14-15 season. McDavid, Kane, Crosby, Draisaitl, Marchand. So that's a caliber of player he is. Calgary had given him an offer, but he let them know prior to free agency he wasn't going to be there. Either way, it's a fantastic interview. We're going to go to him right now because it's good stuff. He was very honest, a lot of laughs. But first, we want to let you know that interview is brought to you by our friends at Roman. What would you like to last longer? Summer nights, an awesome concert, maybe that jet ski you're riding around on? Well, Roman wants you to last longer in bed. 340% better in bed. Roman swipes are the secret to longer lasting sex. Roman swipes are uniquely formulated to reduce overstimulation without eliminating sensation altogether. The more consistent you are with the swipes, the longer and better your sex life will be. The swipe's super easy to use. You take out the swipe, you apply it, you let it dry for 5 minutes, boom, you get in there and you enjoy longer lasting sex. So go to GetRoman.com/Chiclets to get $10 off swipes when you choose a monthly plan. GetRoman.com/Chiclets, and now enjoy Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau. Well, we're very happy to welcome this friend of the program back for his third go-around on Chiclets. He, of course, just signed his 7-year deal with the Columbus Blue Jackets. That was the talk of the hockey world this week. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Johnny Gaudreau. How's it going, guy?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for joining us, man. What are you down the Jersey Shore getting a little vacay right now?
He's in witness protection in the Jersey Shore right now. All right.
Yeah, I'm down here in the Jersey Shore in Avalon, New Jersey. Just stay down here in the summertime. Been going to the beach, riding the jet skis around in the bay back here. So it's been good.
You're a jet ski guy?
Oh, you think?
Yeah, I love.
You're Kenny Powers.
I love the jet skis. Yeah, I rip them in the morning all the time and get up at like 7 or 8 and go rip around in the bay for like an hour and a half. So
you gonna make the signing bonus last a little longer than the first one, or what?
Oh man, I can't wait for that to come in. I'm excited.
You owe me an apology, man. You made me fucking shave my head on national television. Well, you and company. What happened in the Battle of Alberta, bro?
I know. Yeah, that was bad. I thought we were chilling after the first game. We scored like 14 goals. I was like, we should be fine here. And then next thing you know, the rest of the game, they're scoring 6-7 goals on us. I'm like, geez, this isn't good.
I was so mad because Biz is like, look at this. You texted him before the second round. Like, I'm going to make Whitney wear that stupid earring or something like that. I'm like, this motherfucker.
I know. I wanted to see that. But, honestly, both were going to be comical. So it didn't matter.
Hey, in all honesty, though, like, you guys win that first game and, when a series ends like that and the season ends like that, you always go out afterward. You have like the post game pops and you kind of say your goodbyes. Like, did you guys have a long conversation as to like what happened and maybe what went wrong as far as the series was concerned?
Yeah, I mean, that was difficult, I think, because we thought we were the better team. I mean, obviously, Connor and Draisaitl were just doing ridiculous things out there every single night. So, I mean, but we were also missing to me, one of our top team men, like on our team, like Tanev is such a big piece for our team. And he was playing with like the worst shoulder injury you could possibly think of. And, and it's hard to do that, but, I mean, yeah, it still hurts. It hurts to talk about it because, I thought we were a really good team. I thought we were going to, pull that one off.
You know what, Johnny, that was rude of me. We shouldn't even be starting out with that. We should be congratulating you on this new contract that you've got. All right, I'm going to throw it back over to you. I'm just poopy pants because I had to get my shit head.
And yeah, you still look terrible from that too. You're in the in-between stages right now, huh?
Yeah.
Jordan, how many teams did it come down to? I know Columbus was sort of a late name thrown in. Nobody was talking about them. Then it got mentioned the day of. So, like, how many teams did you actually have it whittled down to before you decided on Columbus?
I had like 3-4 teams that I knew I wanted to play for. Columbus was obviously high on that list for me. But there was a few other teams, and the day of, I was only really talking to 2 of them. So I was pretty much signed in with a different team. Most of the day I hadn't heard from Columbus, and then all of a sudden they called at like 4, and I told my agent, like, I want to go here. Like, just try to get this done. Like, this is the spot I want to be, right here. And he got it done in an hour, and next thing you know, I was signing with Columbus. So I was, it was a stressful day, but I was super excited.
You mentioned it being a stressful day, and that's something like I never experienced being a UFA, or I was, but at that point I was getting booted to Russia when my time came. So in terms of that day, and like it all comes, you realize you're not going back to Calgary. Are you kind of getting calls from your agent every 10 minutes? Like, is there a point when you're like, hey, they need an answer right now? Like, how did that whole day come about? Because not until 4:00 you heard from Columbus. That's surprising.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't think I'd ever want to do this again. It was like, it was a stressful day. Like, I thought it was going to be like, free agency. This team's going to want me. That team's going to want me. Get a call from these guys, that guy, this and that. It was nothing like that at all. I'm just like, what's going on here? And I don't know, maybe it's because the flat cap and, it's harder on teams and stuff like that. But, I was only talking to like 2-3 teams. And I was super thankful that Columbus called during that, late hour than, afternoon, because I was pretty much I think I was trying to get a deal done with the Devils. And then Columbus called, and, I was like, I want to go here. And then my agent got it done, and it was awesome. So
I heard the list got cut down by about half the teams because they heard you like Friends. The show Friends,
and that Ross was his favorite character,
and then that cut him down even more. And
then there was only Columbus left,
and then Chuck Fletcher was like, "Fuck it, I'm not even getting rid of these contracts. I'm gonna keep sipping on my Mai Tai here on the beach. I'm not gonna do any work. That guy can go fuck himself."
I love watching your clips, and out of nowhere, just someone would just be like, or you can just like Ross and Friends, like Johnny does, like just some random episode I'm getting thrown in because I like Ross. So
I'm surprised that news anchor didn't come after you about it.
Yeah, I know, that was tough to watch right there. I was like, geez,
settle down, buddy. Well, that's actually something I wanted to ask you, because you had such great years in Calgary. The team did have a lot of success, especially this last year, and they wanted you to be there so bad. So how tough was it? Did you have to give Treliving a call? Was there a final kind of goodbye? And I can't imagine it was easy to say no to their offer.
No, it was really difficult. I think that's, a lot of people think I was just kind of dragging Calgary along, but I thought about signing back in Calgary or going to free agency every day for like a month, and every day I thought I was going to possibly go back to Calgary, and then the next day I thought I just kept. It was difficult. I just kept going through it in my head, and it was a long month, but it came down to like literally the last day. I was like, I seriously still don't know what I'm going to do. I love Calgary so much. It's such a great place to play. The fans are great, but in that final, kind of a few hours, I thought, it was going to be best for me to just test free agency. And it was a hard decision, but it was a long month there. It was one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life. I think just trying to, let Calgary know I wasn't going to go back.
Jordan, was the one decisive factor? You're like, all right, it's going to be Columbus. I know your buddy Eric Robinson's been there for a long time. Was he a big recruiting factor?
Yeah, Eric, obviously super close, really close buddy of mine. And then I played with a lot of guys on that team. I played with Corrali, I played with Renski, a couple of world championships. Who else? Erica Branson's on the team. I had a lot of familiar faces there, and it makes kind of going into a new team a little bit easier. So I really like that part of Columbus as well, just having familiar faces there and stuff.
How much of a factor, I guess, to call it, a more relaxed atmosphere than playing in Canada? How much of that was a factor as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be different than playing in Canada. Obviously, the media and this and that. It's a lot smaller in Columbus, but I've heard so many good things about their fans. They're so into the game, the fifth line, and I'm really looking forward to playing in front of those guys too. Obviously, Canada's kind of a different level. than a lot of places you play in the States. But I think it's going to be a pretty fun place to play. I'm looking forward to playing my first game there.
Are you training for the cannon? Because I saw it one of the years where you were at the All-Star game there. You pooped your pants when the cannon went off.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. I was telling the media in Columbus, I was like, you're just going to have to put me in the arena and let this thing blast off like for an hour. And I'm just going to get used to it eventually.
Yeah, just lock you in a room. Now, okay, so going back to the fact that you end up leaving Calgary, like, have you been asked if maybe COVID and the rules and like the shutdowns and everything, the Canadian side of it, did that play any type of factor in this, or is that just absolute nonsense?
No, not really. It didn't really. I mean, obviously it was tough, with the whole COVID thing in Canada. It was pretty hard, getting family and to come see us, not even play. They couldn't even watch us play, couldn't even come in the arena, but just to come say hello or like see my family, that was difficult. But that wasn't a huge deciding factor on why I didn't go back. I think it was time for me to just get a different change of scenery, I think. And we wanted to play a little bit closer out east and play a little bit closer to family. And that was important to us.
Does maybe some of the negativity, maybe from media members, Calgary fans, about you leaving and your decision, like, were you expecting maybe some of it or all of it? And does it affect you deep down, considering what you put into that organization? Yeah,
I didn't think I was gonna get as bad as I have. I obviously thought there was gonna be some fans, not happy, but I didn't think I was gonna hear about as much as I have. And I get it. I mean, they're very passionate fan base. They have very passionate fans, and they love their Flames, and the city of Calgary loves hockey. So I understand it's been hard on a lot of people, but I still love that place. I was part of that organization for 12 years, played there for eight or 9 years, and the city was great to me every single time. And it sucks, having to leave, but I just wish them all the best, and then hopefully they can get over it soon here, because it's a great place, and I really did love playing there.
I'm gonna miss the Gucci belts and the Gucci loafers on the horse to lead the Stampede parade, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I know. I was gonna bring that back this year if I went back. So.
Oh that would have been one way to fucking re-sign there. Just come in with the horse and the flag, maybe with like a pair
but now
of
we can go to like a
Uggs
Buckeyes game or something with some
That's
Yeezys
true.
on. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just rip it up that way.
Exactly. Yep. So I'll probably do that. I'll try to do that the next year. So
Has Patrick Laine called you?
No, we
playing
texted
video
a little
games.
bit.
Oh shit.
What was
sorry.
that?
He's playing video games, he said.
Oh,
He's playing Grand Theft Auto. He's getting the
texted me a
5
little
stars.
bit. I talked to a few of the guys, but he texted him a little bit, texted a few of the other guys, and my phone's just been blowing up. I've debated just chucking it in the ocean, not even answering anything, but I forgot I had an interview with you guys, so I'll do it after this.
I got one more quick one. When you decided Columbus was the landing spot, did you know that you were going to like blow up the hockey world with this? Like, they never, you're the biggest, 100% the biggest free agent signing they've ever had. And I don't even know if they've ever had anyone even remotely close to that. RA, you might be able to chime in with a name or like, this is, did you expect that it was going to make headway?
I didn't expect people to be so shocked on me choosing Columbus. I guess maybe, I didn't know. I didn't expect this at all. Everyone's texting me like, well, what? Like, why? Like, Columbus ? And I'm like, and I'm just like, well,
your mom.
I did my research. I've heard so many great things about Columbus, and the outside part of the city with like just great neighborhoods, great golf. I mean, the flying for the road games, I'm back in my bed at like 12 instead of 4 a.m. sometimes. I mean, there's just a lot of really good, things that I kind of learned about Columbus, and to go to Ohio State games too, which is awesome. And I was a little shocked the way everyone thought it was so shocking I chose Columbus. But
how's the jet skiing there?
I don't know. I don't think they got a river there. I think maybe. I don't know.
There'll be something for you to rip around on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In your pool, because you're a gazillionaire now, you just get a fucking There's a
Gets
huge
an
lake.
Olympic-sized swimming pool and just rips up the Columbus Blue Jackets jet ski he has made for his signing bonus.
You and Kenny with that mullet you got going.
Oh my God.
But you mentioned doing your research, and that's one thing. Like I think people think of Columbus, and obviously it's not a major city, but first off, it's a great fan base, and you saw kind of the fan base and what they went through when they upset Tampa and how crazy that building was.
Mm-hmm.
And second, like it is such a great place that you see so many guys, they don't leave there once they retire. I think Dubinsky's still there. I think Jarrett Bull's there, and there's a lot of guys. So I'm assuming doing your research, you're talking to people who really love living there post playing as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you named a few, but there's like 6, 7 other guys.
Yeah.
Going back there in the summers, and like I was talking to Cam Atkinson. I mean, I drove by his house the other day, and I texted him like, "I'm on behind next to your house." He came out. I got to see him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm so happy. You're gonna love this place. Like, this is such a undercover, great city." And I kept hearing everyone say it's a hidden gem, and just being there for the whole day and like just going around, the city and the little outskirts and towns and some golf courses. I just kept getting this vibe that I was like, wow, this could be a really cool place to play. And, I think, like you said, I'm really looking forward to it and see where it goes.
I think a lot of people expected Philly to be in the mix, and they kind of gave you the new phone who dis reply. Nothing ever materialized there. Did that disappoint you on some level, being a local guy and growing up like in the Flyers?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've said it before in an interview or something, but it would always be cool to play for your hometown team, and obviously they didn't have the cap space or anything, so I kind of knew that they were kind of out of the, they wouldn't be around on free agency day a few weeks before because they had to make a ton of trades and this and that, and obviously kept an eye on it, but nothing ever came about it. But on free agency day though, I was only really talking to like 2-3 teams, and I was very fortunate Columbus called there the last remaining hours there in the afternoon.
You gave your bag to Risto. Whoops.
Yeah, very similar bags.
Actually, Chuck Fletcher's became my favorite GM after the answer he gave about how it was going to be too hard to move a couple contracts to get one of the best playmakers we've seen in the last fucking 5 to 10 years here. Like, come on, it's fucking hilarious, dude. He just didn't even want to work to get it done. So suck on that one, Johnny. What do you got? What else you got there, Whit?
Well, I was gonna say you got your first child's on the way, I believe. Is your wife due somewhat? That's awesome. Congrats on that. Did you guys go out and pick out a house? Has she been out there yet, or was that just your first visit just the other day?
Yeah, it was our first visit together.
Nice.
They sent a plane the next day to pick us up at like 9 a.m. We were there for the full day, and we were looking at a couple of houses, and a bunch of realtors are helping us. But she's due September 30th, so looking forward to that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And then trying to figure out buy a house here in the next few weeks and move everything into our home in Columbus here. So we're looking forward to doing that. It's kind of like a little next chapter for us, and we're excited to kind of get started on doing that type of stuff.
That's awesome. Now, RA, before you go here, like it is part of the decision factor in that you want an Ohio baby, just like Monica and Chandler in Friends. I don't know if you remember that episode where they were going to adopt. So is that kind of like, is this what's
We've
happening
come full
here?
circle.
We've come full circle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that one.
That's probably the main reason why I chose Columbus for that exact point right there.
Fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. There you go. They should be playing Friends on the Jumbotron during intermissions at the games just because they were able to land the biggest free agent signing and the biggest one in their franchise history. Let off the cannon.
Maybe his goal song.
Yeah, seriously, maybe.
Johnny, number 13, currently won by youngster Kent Johnson. Are you going to have to cough up some of that loot for a Rolex maybe to get 13? Has that been a discussion yet, or are you going to wait and see?
No, I'm 13. They told me right after I signed, like this younger player has it, and he actually was wearing number 13 because of you. And I'm like, he can keep it. I'll just pick a different number. I don't
Really?
I was like, I don't need 13. I don't want it. Like, I'll just pick something else. He's like,
He's not even getting
No,
a per
no,
diem
he's
pack
like-
at training camp. He's getting sent down
he's-
fucking on waivers.
He's like
And at
5th
one.
overall
Yeah, I
pick.
know he's
isn't he?
not.
yeah, he's
not
sick.
anymore,
He's
he ain't,
actually
bitch.
really
Look at
good
his
player.
line.
He's a really good player.
Doesn't matter.
But he texted the GM. He's like, you can give Johnny 13. And I was like, before I didn't even know they had a 13. Because I wasn't familiar with Columbus's organization, like their drafted players and stuff. So I had no idea. They're like, oh yeah, he already texted us, said you can have it. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't want to take anyone's number. And he's like, just bring him out to a couple steak dinners and stuff. I was like, all right. So
Yeah, he's like, he sent a picture of a Daytona Rolex right afterward. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, you do with it what you want.
What number?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
number would you have worn if 13? If he kept it,
I was probably either gonna go like 12 or 19. But I don't
19's a
even.
number, Biz. Us best players. That's what
Johnny.
we wear.
12's my number.
Yeah,
I think that
what do
you
you want to
should-
start dumping it in every time?
Maybe
Yeah,
he
that's
does
why I was
fucking.
gonna wear it, Biz.
They're a blue collar town, buddy. They're gonna appreciate those dump-ins, buddy.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know Jakey at all, Voracek?
Yeah, I do. Kind of like just through passing. And Yuri Hoodler used to play in the Flames, and
Oh Jesus!
My God,
They-
those two together.
Amount of champagne those two probably drank together. No wonder
yeah.
it's so
So
expensive now.
I kind of gotten to know him better over the years because of Hoods. But yeah, I know him a little bit. I'm excited to play with him. I hear he's a pretty funny dude, so that'll be a lot of fun to play with him.
Certainly.
How's the summer training like when you're in Jersey? Do you have other NHL guys that you're training with? And the main reason I ask is I was talking to Hazy about you the other day. We played golf the day you signed, and we were just shooting the shit. He's like, dude, the workouts at BC were so funny. He would carry around a water bottle and we'd just dump water on his head to make it look like he was sweating.
Yeah, I mean, in college, I was not into any of that crap, and I learned really quickly. If I wanted to, keep playing, I got to get a little bigger. I got to get a little stronger than 135 pounds. But no, in the summers, I got like Eric Robinson. Obviously, plays in the Blue Jackets. I got his older brother, Buddy Robinson, and then D'Angelo is down in South Jersey. And then John Stevens, old coach of Dallas, his two sons play in the AHL, and we all kind of skate together down here in Atlantic City. And then I just kind of put like a little gym together in my garage and kind of just work out there in the mornings.
That Eric Robinson, I know he's a little younger. He had a pretty solid season, undrafted, kind of come out of nowhere after playing at Princeton. You've known about him a long time, though?
Yeah, he's always been a pretty good player. I mean, obviously, he kind of grew a lot throughout college, so he had a little growth spurt, but he works super hard, like in the summers. He works out extremely hard. He skates like 2-3 times a week. Like, he's like, he wants to play in the NHL. That's why he's playing in the NHL. He's kind of just grinded it out like hard summers, and so that's why I don't work out with him. But yeah.
Johnny, I heard one of the most preposterous stories I've ever heard. Actually, we were doing a live stream. Hazy came on. I love doing the live streams where random guys pop on. And he said that one time that you ended up, I don't know if it was a pregame meal, and there was these meatballs that were covered in marinara sauce. And then you were using the table cover to take all the marinara sauce off the meatballs so you could eat the meatballs just plain. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I didn't like the sauce, the marinara sauce. It was like right out of a can. It wouldn't even taste like Italian at all. So I was just eating like pasted marinara sauce. It was gross. So I just wiped them off and then just stuck them in a roll and made myself like a little meatball sandwich and shammered a couple of those.
Did you treat yourself to anything to celebrate? I mean, I know you weren't exactly hand to mouth before this deal, but did you buy yourself a little treat just to celebrate?
Probably went to Subway.
Oh, his wife went and online shopping for 43 hours in a row, and he's got no money left.
No, honestly, we haven't done anything. I might go buy like a golf cart to like ride around in my little town here in Avalon. Everyone's got golf carts, and I feel like I kind of need one. So I might just go get like a decked out sick golf cart with like some speakers and rip it to the beach and stuff.
Hubcap spinners.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get some like strobe lights coming out for the nighttime when we're riding around.
Hey, talk to Jans. Didn't he get an unbelievable one when he hit his 1,000th game? Or
they gave it to him.
Yeah, that one looked awesome. You should talk to him.
See who they went through and try to grab something like that. But
How hard of a time did Hazy give you at the fact that you weren't able to get to Philly? He must have been pretty.
Hazy's going to Columbus. What are you talking about? He's going to be in Columbus by 2024. I'm telling you, watch.
Yeah, he was super. Yeah, he was a little upset. He was trying to push me to get to Philly for. He wanted me to come to Philly. He's like, "Oh yeah, we always come to Philly. Like, we'd love to have you in Philly, and I want to play with you someday." So I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to play with you too." But obviously Chuck never. It wasn't in the. They couldn't get the cap space or whatnot on that day. So, but I was texting him yesterday or 2 days ago. He's like, "You're gonna love Columbus. It's such a cool town. I was there this summer." So, another guy who's been there just telling me great things. So
Hazy also said, I got to ask you about when you bailed on him. He goes, you need to get the story of why he bailed on me courtside seat at the Knicks because of Berkey.
He didn't want splinters.
Oh,
in his
yeah.
toes.
Berkey. No, I think it was Glenn Gulletson, but we were having like a practice in the Madison Square Garden, and I didn't take the bus. I just went in a cab. I put my equipment on. I just took a cab instead of the bus. And I guess the coach got pissed off or something. I'm not sure why he got mad I took a cab. But so I was getting ready to go to the courtside game with him. And he's like, all right, you can choose. You can go to the courtside game with him, or we're going to scratch you for not getting on the bus with the team. And I'm like, what? I was like, I was here on time for practice. Like, I didn't miss anything. Like, we had no meetings. Like, what do you mean? He's like, you can choose. And I'm like, oh, all right. I got 37 family members coming up from South Jersey. I'm not going to go watch LeBron play when I got family coming in tomorrow. So I didn't get that. I didn't get to go in there. So, but oh, well.
What a cock block that is.
Wow.
I know. I was fired up. We had great seats, courtside, watch LeBron. Couldn't go.
Obviously, Hazy was where the infamous ham and cheese story come out. Now, have you got a taste for sushi since then? I knew you were ducking sushi that day.
Yeah, me and my wife love sushi. We go out a lot to. There's not a lot of great spots in Calgary for sushi, but when I go on the road, I have a lot. And during the summer times back here on the coast of Jersey, they got some great seafood out here and sushi and stuff. So I'm venturing out a little bit. I don't just eat ham and cheese anymore, but. I still like how the name's kind of stuck with me since
you look
college.
like a California roll type of guy, Johnny.
Yeah, it's just like spicy tuna with just tuna in it. And that's
It's
it.
shrimp tempura only.
Off the glass and
Get
out.
the avocado off of the roll.
Yeah. No, absolutely no veggies because my body will reject it.
Yeah, there's like sometimes they put like cucumbers in the middle or like something. I just like poke them out. Like,
what?
Right through the middle of the hole.
Oh, I love the sushi that has the cucumber as the actual roll part instead of the rice. You don't like
Johnny has the thing, but he has the thing that goes on the chopsticks that keeps them together. Like the little kid Aladdin.
Oh yeah, right. He's eating them with a fork.
No, he's eating them with gold chopsticks now.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, so I want to go back to Calgary. Like, did you like let some of your former teammates know that you were gonna move on before like letting anybody else know? Like, I know we kind of you didn't talk to one guy about it.
No, I didn't talk to anyone. I honestly I always say this, but like it was like the last 2 hours of the night before free agency, and I still had no idea what I was doing. And half of them live in Europe, or half of them live in Sweden. We got like 8 of them up there.
They just went to Lindholm's wedding.
Yeah, Yarncrocs wedding, but yeah.
Or Yarncrocs, sorry.
Yeah, but I didn't really have the opportunity to. I just kind of called Brad and let him know it was already. And at that point, it was like 11 at night, and it was pretty hard for me. It was pretty emotional. Like I said, I was there for a long time, and it was pretty hard. So I kind of just hung out with my wife that night and just tried to figure out who we're going to play for the next day, and made a little list, talked to some people, but it was tough. It was hard, and didn't really get a chance to talk to any guys. So,
all right. What's the show? Like the meme where the guy's wiping his tears away with all the money. Because it was such an emotional decision. It's 70 million, just wiping his tears away.
Oh, that's Jerry Maguire. A lot of pressure coming. 95 million.
Oh, God.
It was the Harrison, not Harrison. The guy who's in. For fuck's sakes, I can't remember. Somebody's gonna be yelling at me through their fucking speaker right now because I can't remember the meme. The meme.
I want to go back to that Dallas series, man. Jake Ottinger was out of his mind. Were you surprised to beat him with that shot, Game 7 overtime? I mean, it was a tough angle. Did you kind of surprise yourself a bit there?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I just made a quick play to Lindholm in the front. He took a shot off the goalie's head and like ripped it right off his head. So puck bounced out to me. It was laying flat. And if you played hockey, you know, if you're taking a shot off the stick with a flat puck, you know, you're probably going to get some luck if it goes in. And I put it in. It literally went in the perfect spot there, right above the shoulder, right next to the head, and you know, got a good bounce. And so
It was looking like he might. Sorry, what he might steal that series for a second. Were you guys panicking at any point before overtime during Game 7 at all? Because
I wanted somebody to run him,
yeah, I was like, Luch, get in there and just blow him up.
stick him right in the dick.
We'll take the 5-minute penalty.
Bingo.
Yep. And then, but no, we were pretty like calm. I think, you know, I mean, we were out shooting them by like 40 or 50 shots or something, and we were in their zone the whole time. I mean, they'd get a look here and there, and you know, obviously anything can happen in overtime, but they did have one look from Sagan. They passed the back door. I don't know how he missed. I thought it was an empty net. I think it just deflected off a stick. It was kind of a hard pass. And I thought from the bench, I was on the bench, thought it went in. I thought the game was over. Then we came back down and scored, won it all.
I remember that. He just came out of the box, too. You guys didn't capitalize on the PP. That was when I threw a pillow at the television.
Yeah. So
I was in my hotel room shitting bricks if you guys wouldn't have got past that round. I thought you guys had it. I thought the Battle of Alberta, you guys were going to bend them over. And you talked about the injury. Was that one of the best playoff performances you've ever seen by Draisaitl, considering he only had one leg?
Yeah, I mean, those guys were nuts in playoffs. I mean, and with missing our top defensive D man, our D kind of got mixed up, and it hurt us for sure, you know, not having Tanny play. But I mean, like what you saw, I mean, those two guys, they're playing great the whole series, the series before that, and you know, it's hard to you know, stop two players and play like that. So, but yeah, I mean, they were a good team last year. I thought we were the better team, but you know, they ended up winning.
I gotta ask. I mean, I know the season didn't end the way you wanted, but that line, I mean, it was nuts. I mean, Tkachuk, yourself, and Lindholm over 120 goals, 300 points. Like, had you ever really felt any sort of connection with another line like that in your life, whether it be when you're younger, college? Because the fact that you guys were able to like figure out each other's games that well, it must have been such a fun season just buzzing around with them.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a blast. We kind of each like brought something little to the whole line. Like Chucky, obviously, you know, big body, can sit in the front and get pucks in the corner. And obviously still all three, you know, super skilled, smart players, can see the ice, you know, knows where we're at all times. But, and then Lindholm's got that sneaky, like really good shot that, you know, I don't think a lot of people know about. And for me, I was just trying to, you know, make plays and go from there. But, you know, we all had something that made our, you know, our line kind of like a pretty good line to play against. So it just, I mean, it reminds me of probably playing with Billy Arnold and Kevin Hayes, maybe BC a little bit. That one year, my junior year, we kind of just absolutely tore it up that year, and it kind of reminds me of this year.
Johnny, that was your first experience of the Battle of Alberta in the playoffs. Was it the most intense hockey you've ever experienced?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I thought it was a harder series against Dallas. You know, just with the physicality and how tight it was. And, you know, we were winning 1-0 games or 2-1 games or losing 3-2. And with those games, I think they were just way more offensive. You know, the ice was super open. And, you know, I thought we kind of played into their game, you know, kind of, you know, rushes against. And, you know, I think they're probably a little more skilled team than us. And, you know, when you start playing that chance for chance game, you know, when they have McDavid and Draisaitl, it's probably going to hurt you. And in the long run, I think that's what kind of hurt us in that series as well.
When you talked to Yarmo, I don't know if you talked to Brad Larson either, was there any mention of like who you might possibly play with when the season gets going, or is that just so not even really on your radar yet?
Yeah, not even on the radar. I was just, you know, I haven't met anyone in that whole organization other than a few of the guys on the team. So, you know, I was just, you know, meeting everyone and, you know, checking out the rink in the city and doing my press conference. So talked to him a little bit 2 days ago. Lars, just, you know, what he expected out of me and training camp and stuff like that, but nothing other than that, really.
Well, now that the first part of our interview is done, now we're just going to spend the rest of it, the next 30 minutes talking about Daryl Sutter. What was it like being coached by Daryl Sutter? Now, did you guys have a great relationship? Can you tell us and share some stories? Did he ever get mad at you?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he got mad every single day. It didn't matter who you were, if you were first liner, fourth liner, scratch player, like if you did something wrong, you're getting yelled at. So he didn't care who you were. And I think that's why I really liked playing for him. He expected the same out of everyone. And, I think he did a really good job with our team. I don't think a lot of people thought about our team making playoffs or going to the second round before the season started. And, he kind of just brought us together, but I liked playing for him a lot. I thought he was a great coach, and he did a lot of good things for me and our team.
Any funny stories though of like shit that he would do in the room, and like he would leave and everybody just be looking at each other laughing?
Yeah. I mean, when he would get mad, you wouldn't know you knew he was mad, but then he'd walk out of the locker room and you just hear like 10 seconds of shit being broken. I don't know what it is. There's a stick, something else. Like there's like these plaques of like past teams on the wall, like falling down, and lights are breaking. And he did it like 2-3 times throughout the year. And you can just he doesn't stop. He just keeps going and going. It's like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, just smashing stuff. I'm like, oh my God, got to play better this period.
It was a soundtrack. He would just play it as soon as he left. Or just like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not even screaming or anything. He's just smashing crap.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
What did Chucky say when he found out you went to Columbus? Was he one of those Columbus question mark?
Yeah, he was. No, he was happy for me. He shot me a text, and he's like, "I've heard so many good things about that city." He's like, kind of gives me like, he's obviously from St. Louis, but he's like, it gives me like a St. Louis kind of vibe, and but he was super happy for me, and I just said, wish we could still be playing together, but all the best. And he's his whole family, his mom, dad, all good people, and got to know over the past 4 or 5 years playing with him. So but yeah,
pretty sick that you make the first team all-star team. Like that's unbelievable. I think with the forwards were you, Matthews, and Marner. There's no chance you didn't have any like bonuses for that, did you?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
That's why he left.
The fuck? First line left wing NHL All-Star team. I don't get shit.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, maybe. I doubt it. I feel like I would have known by now, but that's all right. No big deal. It was really cool. It was a cool accomplishment. I mean, like it's something that not a lot of players get to do. So that was really cool when I heard my name for that.
So it comes down to Jersey and Columbus, I guess. How does Columbus nose out Jersey at the end of the day, Johnny?
For me, I think I always said I wanted to play closer to home, but like, it wasn't too close to where I'm getting like bombarded with like friends and family and like just always like nonstop, like just basically an open door policy. Come in whenever you want. And that's the way we kind of are down the shore here. My buddies around just come in or this and that. But if we kind of did it all year, I think it would have gotten a little out of hand at times, but it's far enough where me and my wife can do our own little family thing. We're obviously having our first kid coming up here. So, it's close enough where they, can visit all the time. It's an hour flight. It's a 6-hour drive if you're going a little bit faster. And they can come whenever they want. And we can, kind of do our own little thing at times too. So.
Did you pick a name yet?
No, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl.
Oh, you're not finding out?
Going old school. Nice.
No, yeah.
That's what we did. It's the best.
I mean, we talked about it every single day. We're not sure what it's going to be. It's something that we talk about every day. So I think it's kind of been making it go a little bit faster, so we'll see.
It's the last true surprise in life until Biz comes home early from a business trip and his old ladies get double teamed and bang. Oh, Johnny, thank you so much, dude. I mean, that's we really appreciate you hopping on. You were the talk of free agency, and when that all broke, it was crazy news, and we were excited to chat with you. So congratulations, man.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. And Biz, again, super sorry about that mop ahead on your hair.
Buddy, I'm going to be hitting you up for tickets in Columbus. I'm going to be selling them on StubHub, or we actually use the Game Time app now. Shout out to Game Time. Love you guys. But if you had to guess whether you think it's going to be a boy or a girl, what do you think it's going to be, Johnny?
Probably a girl. I think a girl, but every single person that looks at my wife, they're like, "Oh, it's a boy." And every single person will say it's a boy. And it's nuts.
Do a gender reveal with the cannon. Just think about it. Just give
fire
it
the
thought.
kid out of the cannon.
Out of the cannon.
Awesome.
Gender reveal. Come in with a bang, buddy.
Yeah.
Those Columbus fans deserve it. Hey, but on a serious note, man, I'm so happy for that fan base. I'm happy for you, and I wish you the best in Columbus. And just slide it over to Line A. You're gonna have 70 million assists this season. So
yeah, I know,
I'm
right?
excited to watch you guys play.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Huge thanks to Johnny for joining us at short notice. I did a little DM slide business. I haven't done that for a while. I was like, had a couple cocktails. I'm like, yeah, maybe we'll get Johnny Hockey on. He's like, absolutely. I'll squeeze some time for you. So I was like, nice to land a big guy like that. So it's psyched to get him on.
Absolutely.
Want to let you know that his interview is also brought to you by Labatt Blue. There's a little bit of Canadian kindness in every sip of Labatt Blue Light. How did it get in there? They're Canadian. That's how. You can spread the love yourself by sharing a Labatt. When you share a Labatt, you're not just sharing a beer. You're sharing an experience that'll pair with anything from hockey to a hoedown. So next time you're watching a game with your buds, be sure to share a Labatt, because while you might not all root for the same team, you can all enjoy Labatt Blue Light. Once again, Barstool will be working with Labatt all year, and we have some exciting content coming up, like this weekend at the Chiclets Cup. So go grab some Blue Light and enjoy. Labatt, the pristine Canadian Pilsner. Share a Labatt.
We are a Labatt podcast, and that's never going to change. Mark my fucking words.
Love it.
Labatt.
Love it. Love it. Boys, so we didn't really get to the deal much because we had to get right to Johnny, but we were all blown out of the water. I mean, he obviously explained his methodology and whatever, but what
did I say last week?
Yep.
I said it. I said there's going to be a team not one person has thought about in terms of the possibility of them landing Johnny Gaudreau that comes flying in last minute. It always happens every single year. And it just so happens that not only did an unknown team come flying in, but they got him. And because that was the case, I kind of was waiting to be surprised. I thought if it was Philly or Jersey or the Islanders or all these teams that he was kind of rumored to be possibly going to, that it would have happened a little sooner that day. But the fact that it took a little while, it's like, all right, who's involved here? And boom, the news breaks. He says he can't believe people were that surprised. I kind of can. Right? Because there just had been no discussion whatsoever. And with the season Columbus had, which granted, they were better than I think people thought they were going to be, right around 500. But it wasn't a team that was on anyone's radar. And for him to go there, it just shows that not only is Columbus, I think, a way better city than people give him credit for, but also that the team really is looking to win. And Jarmo has been very open about kind of changing the entire tune around the image of the city and the team. Panarin wanted to leave. Duchesne wanted to leave. They went through all of those defections and looking kind of foolish the entire time. And finally were able to land a big fish. That, along with Werenski willing to sign a long-term deal there, it's now looking up in the city of Columbus. And for me, it's exciting for a guy like Johnny Gaudreau, because I don't care what he says, and I think he's very respectful to Canada, but the lack of media and the lack of every single day there being a front-page story and such news-breaking material out of every practice is probably a great feeling. I know, having played in Canada, the thought of I think of Freddie Anderson going from Toronto to Carolina, it's just like, it's just a little nicer. You can do your job and you can show up and go to work without stressing every single day about a giant story possibly being in the news about you or your team.
Well, that, and you say the wrong thing in the media, and then they just run with it, and it just becomes more and more stressful.
Exactly.
Mind you, he is very well media trained. He never really says the wrong thing. He allows us to do that. I said it at the end, guys. I couldn't be happier for the Columbus Blue Jackets fan base. The first time in their history they're able to land a big name free agent to this magnitude. Already, you just said it. There's only 5 guys over how many years who have had more points than him?
Since the 14-15 season started, only 5 players have more points than Johnny: McDavid, Kane, Crosby, Draisaitl, and Marshall.
No shit.
And you look at what Yarmo has been able to do in a very difficult circumstance. And you talked about the free agents who ended up leaving. Well, now you got Werenski locked in. You got Johnny Hockey. They don't have any bad contracts. Now that they have these 2 pieces, and I would imagine they're trying to work out a deal for Patrick Laine, which will now probably entice him to sign there. I don't know what's going to happen with him. He's a restricted free agent. I would imagine that, considering Yarmo made the trade that he did in order to get him and giving up Dubois, that they are probably trying to lock in Laine long term. And when you have a playmaker like Johnny Gaudreau snapping it over to him, I could see Laine now being a 50-goal guy. Year over year playing with this guy. Look what he's done help with Tkachuk and Lindholm. And that's not taking anything away from those guys. They obviously had an incredible line and they worked very well together. But to have that type of a sniper on your wing and on the power play that you can feed, where he's in some cases automatic and he goes through these hot streaks, and going back to the amount of guys that they can maybe draw over now, and in a city with, and you also touched on it, where you don't got to deal with the media night in and night out. You can go enjoy a nice dinner with your family and not get harassed, and maybe, and even in most circumstances, not even be noticed, right? You're probably, as a college football player there, you're probably getting noticed more than you are a Columbus Blue Jacket. So I'll reiterate it again. Seeing a small market like that land a guy like Johnny Gaudreau, I couldn't be happier. I think it's fucking great for the league. Shifting the focus over to, Brad Treliving. I've stroked him off plenty of times in this podcast. There's only a few reasons as to why I was able to play in the National Hockey League as long as I did, or even the fact get a sniff, was because of him and Don Maloney. And they signed me to a couple one-ways, and I'm forever grateful. And he's done an incredible job in Calgary as the general manager there. I couldn't imagine the disappointment in hearing that not only offering Johnny the one more year, but more money, and then having him turn that down must have been devastating. Yeah. Because now who knows what Tkachuk does at the fact that he doesn't have his centerman back. So I don't know where they go from here. They still have to now lock in Matthew Tkachuk. The city of Calgary, some people have been very, very adamant about their frustration and disgust, and they feel betrayed by Johnny. I am in the realm of, you've done your time. You've played there, and when you become a free agent, you have the right to go anywhere you want. And Mike Commodore ended up sending out a pretty funny message on our Instagram. Now, I don't agree with everything Commy says, but you have to imagine that at some point, the COVID situation and what players in Canada had to go through, and who knows if it ends up
and have to possibly again. You
never know, right? You just never know. I think that definitely wore on a lot of players, at least a lot that I've talked to, and that, you have to imagine, becomes a factor. It might not come out of the guy's mouth publicly because they don't want to deal with online backlash, or at least more so that he has for the end up getting the leave after free agency. But he's not only getting it from the fans, he's getting it from local media who he probably had relationships with his whole time in Calgary. And now he's getting it from news anchors, for crying out loud. And Grinelli, you can roll the clip of what the news anchor ended up shooting at him. And I don't know if we want to roll the clip of what the Columbus news anchors ended up firing back, which I thought was a very witty reply and not going too hard at the guy who ended up chirping Johnny.
And that's the news for now. I'll be back here at 11 unless a news station in Columbus offers me way less money. Then I'll probably go do that. Here's your 5-day forecast.
So salty. I know, but Andrew Brown, news anchor, your ship just came in from Columbus because we here at Fox 28 News at 10 happen to be flush with cash. So, Stacia, tell them all about our generous offer.
Well, Bob, Andrew, we're offering you the job of exclusive Johnny Gaudreau beat reporter, filing nightly reports on Johnny Hockey here on the nation's most watched Fox 10 o'clock newscast and our sister station, ABC6.
And Marshall, what are we prepared to pay?
Well, Andrew, the check is already cut, and we are going to pay you way less money. Now, we're going to make sure it's way less money, and we're going to pay you in Canadian funds.
That's right. And unlike where you're working now, Andrew, we're paying for this. You see the signature there, not taxpayers. So it's guaranteed.
We hope to hear from you soon so you can know what Johnny Hockey knows that Columbus is a fabulous place to live.
So there you have it. So not only has he shocked the hockey world, but he's creating even more attention from the from outside sources just beyond the league in order to garner more attention to the NHL. So that's why, all in all, I love the move. I think it's great for the league, and I'm just really happy that Johnny's happy.
I don't like you said though, like I don't really, and I know this kind of goes against my early hatred for the Islanders, who I actually now really like because how much I hate the Rangers and their fans, but I don't really go against or disagree with the fans who like hate Gaudreau now. Like it's just that's part of like sports. Like you hate your enemies. You hate somebody who you think looks at you and says, I don't want to be there. And it's all understandable. In terms of how you treat the guy and what you say to him and possibly write in his DMs, I think you're ridiculous if you're kind of like yelling at him basically through the internet. But I do understand how people are so frustrated in watching somebody and buying the jerseys and loving his game, and then him just saying thanks but no thanks. And not only is it that, but it's like leaving money on the table to leave your city. So it's like that's what makes sports so great, is the passion. But for a player to finally experience it, and I know he mentioned how almost nerve-wracking the entire day was. He doesn't necessarily want to do it again. You got to understand you're right. Exactly like you said, Biz. You've played long enough that this is your right based on the collective bargaining agreement.
I think just as many people were shocked at the fact that he didn't go to New Jersey, which everybody kept hearing that he wanted to play closer to home. And it even came out of his mouth, as he mentioned during the interview. But how many cases, RA, have we seen where a player ends up going back home and it's
a nightmare.
Falls way flatter than what their expectations were based on the pressure. Of course, added on top of that, the amount of money they're making. So that's being held against them. Every member of the family, distant cousins you never even heard or didn't even know you had, reaching out for tickets. All of it combined, I could completely understand why somebody would never want to go home.
I think when we see it, Paul, it's usually guys later in their career when they maybe, can deal with it a lot better, like they're more well equipped to. But yeah, not too many like young guys really end up signing with their hometown team. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. And I mean, maybe Tavares to Toronto, but he was, a little bit older, a little more experienced. I think
that's gone well so far.
Yeah, I bet he's pumped.
Deal with that media, but to jump on Whit's point, you expect the fans to be donkeys online and be upset because that's what fans do. But when the media jumps in like that, like this one guy,
Eric Francis,
and
Francis, that was fucking nuts because that guy's a well-respected. Like for him to say like that he owed them is fucking crazy to me. I'm sorry to take away your quote. No, go ahead.
I says they were willing to make him one of the highest paid players in the game. In turn, he turned around at the 11th hour and stabbed them in the back. I think you owe the city a little bit more than that. It's like, dude, you gave this city 11 years. Like you did everything. I never got in trouble in the news, whatever, and stabbed him in the back. Like, it's like, what are you talking about? And it wasn't the 11th hour. He told him fucking 2 days before free agency. And then another article in Drew Hatchick, I think, in The Athletic, he's like, he left them high and dry. It's like, dude, I don't think they were going to get either DeBrincat or Fiala anyways. They didn't have a first round pick. So like, they were going to be in the same boat. And then I love this one. They brought up like, oh, he's not in Philly. He's close, but he's not as close as he thinks. And he brings up, what about getting an emergency babysitter service if they need someone to help out? It's like, buddy, he's not in fucking
he just signed
Australia
for $70 million, bro.
He's in the fucking
major 14 nannies.
Exactly. I'm like, not to mention the babies come in September. Usually like one of the mothers of the, because the guy's on the road, usually one of the mothers comes and stays with him. It's just crazy points they're reaching for. It's like, dude, just let it go, dude. Like you sound fucking crazy right here. So, but we're psyched for him. But I want to ask you, Biz, does this signing, they also signed Eric Goodbranson 4 years, $16 million, and they are going to sign Line. I think it's pretty much a fait accompli at this time. It's just a matter of how long he does. Are they going to get back in the playoffs with this? They ought to. I would think so.
I think that next year that they probably will not make playoffs.
I agree with you. I don't think next year they're in.
But if they can lock in Line A, they have an awesome nucleus to start drawing in maybe more free agents. They got a lot of young guys in the pipeline. We know that Jarmo knows how to draft and develop. And I think that they have a very, very, and they just got that new coach last year. Is it Deneen?
Head coach?
No, Brad Larson.
Oh, for fuck, I'm an idiot. That's what I meant to say.
Hey, if I could jump in real quick, there's one prospect I want to talk about. He's a little off the radar. His name's Kirill Machenko. He played in SCA last year, second-round pick from 2018. He's the guy to keep an eye on. There's a lot of talk about Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger. Those are the big dogs, the first-round picks. Kirill Machenko, keep an eye on him.
And if anything, Calgary should be thanking Johnny, because that money that they were going to give him meant that they weren't going to be able to finish the sidewalks outside of their new building. And now, therefore, he's leaving. They can use that money to for the cement that was supposed to be for the sidewalks. I know there was a big battle going on between the organization and the city. Well, there you go. So in fact, Francis, you should be thanking Johnny for leaving.
And I'll say once again, I hate to sound like the guy dogging on fans. Players owe you nothing, absolutely nothing. Like little less than nothing, I'll say. So it's like, it's just, I know people think that they owe us this. They don't owe you shit. And it sounds bad to say, but it's the truth.
Yeah, no offense.
And obviously, do you think this permanently changes the perception of Columbus, where a guy like him goes there and,
it does for the short term, it does.
And if they go on and a guy like Sillinger makes a big step up, and Corneli's talking about Line ends up getting 45, like, yeah, they could make the playoffs. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, a free agent sees that Gaudreau was willing to do it, goes there, has a great season, the team does well. And it's like, wait a minute, maybe this is a better destination than always has been thought of. So I actually have always heard how great of a place it is to live. No joke, no niche, no sonk.
I thought one thing Gaudreau said that was really interesting was when he talked to Tkachuk, and Tkachuk said it was a lot like St. Louis. I could picture St. Louis being like, I could picture Columbus being like the future St. Louis, because it's the media presence is the same. Guys love staying there after they go. They seem very similar.
Yeah.
Biz, I saw you retweet a tweet about Matthew Tkachuk possibly going back to St. Louis. Is that a?
No, I'm just stirring it up. I'm just believing anything the interwebs is throwing at me.
Rumor boys.
Well, one of the cities we did mention where he did not end up, matter of fact, they didn't even offer him a deal, the Philadelphia Flyers.
My new favorite team. Chucky.
I mean, they didn't even make an offer. And then, Chuck Fletcher's the quotes he came out with, we don't have the cap space to pursue those kinds of free agents, i.e. Gaudreau. They said they were going to do an aggressive retool. Some contracts are hard to move. Others we didn't want to move. They're a big part of our future. It's basically like, they didn't even try. I mean, they didn't even make an effort.
He is at the Four Seasons right now on the beach somewhere, sipping a Mai Tai, and he could not be bothered. And it's the off season. Who cares? It's not, he doesn't have to work. I have two theories. He's playing 3D chess, and he's got this whole thing figured out, and Philly's going to surprise everybody with torts, and they got those lunch pail type players, and they're going to make playoffs. Or he's still working for the Penguins. It's either one, right? He's imploding it from within.
The Wild.
No, I know he went to the Wild, but his heart lies with the Penguins. I believe he won a cup there as the assistant general manager, if I'm not mistaken, with Ray Shero. I think, is that true? Was he still there? And that was, yes. I want to say, his first big landing spot where he was able to be an assistant general manager. I could be completely mistaken, but he has to either be working for their biggest rival or he's playing 3D chess. RA, what do you think of my analogy?
It's an interesting one. I think Flyers fans might be the angriest of any fan.
And I don't really blame them.
Right. I mean, they got corporate ownership, which sucks. Like when Comcast or any conglomerate owns your team, you'd much rather have the Snyders or any family like the Jacobses. That's better than having fucking Comcast on your team.
It turns into such a business, RA, where you're saying, like, it's like, look at the numbers. Nope, doesn't work. Like, it's all about the net revenue.
It's like, how do we pimp out Gritty 16 times this season too? Like they're more known for Gritty than they fucking play on the ice right now. And then Chuck Fletcher, man, he gets roasted online every day. He talks about an aggressive retool. And this is no disrespect to the guys he signed. Nick Delorier 4-year deal. Justin Braun brings him back for a year, and it's like, you're a big budget team, man. Like the money's spent in all weird places. It's just, I don't know. I haven't said that. I wouldn't write them off next year, man. They had a good
they'll be better because of Torts.
Torts is there. They're going to be healthier. If Couturier is healthier, Hazy's going to be healthier. And Carter Hart didn't play bad last year, man. That team stunk in front of him. And, of course, when you're the goalie, you're going to have some bad goals and a lot of
goals. What's up with Ellis? Any word there?
I think he had a bad hip last year, and then he probably saw how they were playing halfway through, and he's like, "Oh, it's still bugging me." I'll see you on the beach, Chuck. Yeah, I don't see them making playoffs. I definitely see them competing a lot harder. That's kind of obvious.
Who do you think has a better year, Philly or Ottawa?
I think Ottawa will be on the cusp of playoffs, but we'll get to Ottawa later.
I know. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking of teams that have made like.
But listen, the moves in the craziness kind of speak for themselves as to maybe the mismanagement and the corporate element that you just described, RA. But the fact that Chuck Fletcher woke up and chose violence on free agency day with those quotes. He's my favorite GM right now. Numero uno. There is not a close second. He is just going at it with Philly fans. And this is why we love sports. He's going to have to travel around Philadelphia in an armored vehicle for next
Imagine
season.
a diehard Flyers fan that whole day and it's like 4:00 Eastern. You're just like, what's going on? And then boom, Delorier and Braun.
And his quote on Delorier goes, players like that around the league are hard to find. Just hits him
like
with
Johnny Hockey's growing on a tree.
Yeah, I mean, it's deep. When you know guys' contracts up, you plan years ahead of time to make room for it, and that's what I think pisses the fans off. It's like you don't do it fucking a week before, a day before, man. You gotta map the shit out way ahead of time. So yeah, lots of angry people in Flyers land. But go, Biz. Sorry.
No, I honestly think that the league, it's like scripted at this point at the shit that's been going on. It's like Bettman's running it all, and all these storylines are being created like the Wizard of Oz behind the scenes. This is how amazing free agency was.
WWF style. We just mentioned who's going to be better, Philly or Ottawa. Well, the Senators, very active in the last week, and they're going to be much improved no matter what, especially after landing a Flyers legend. Prized free agent Claude Giroux signed a 3-year, $19.5 million deal. He's got a no-move clause for the duration. They also got Cam Talbot in the trade from Minnesota. They gave him Philippe Gustafsson back, the goaltender. Talbot's 35 in the last year of his deal, making $3.6 million. And they also locked down 23-year-old center Josh Norris with an 8-year, $63.6 million deal. Average AAV just under $8 million. It's going to take him through 2030. This kid's a young stud. They're locking up all these young studs, but bringing a guy like Giroux, bringing a goalie like Talbot, is this enough to get them in the playoffs, Biz, or what?
I think that they're just outside looking in, but
they're going to be there. They're going to be battling, though.
Just like I talked about Columbus, I am so happy for Ottawa. I'm not sure whether this has to do with the fact that they're trying to solidify that new rink downtown and they need to put a more competitive team on the ice. Dorian, is that how you say his last name? He has done an excellent job so far in Norris. If we want to start there, I look at this one the same way I look at that Robert Thomas deal. Maybe a little expensive at the beginning for what he's proven, but come year 4, 5, 6, this is going to be an absolute steal.
I think it's a steal already. I think he's fucking nasty.
35 tucks last year. He was incredible. I couldn't be happier for the guy and the fact that this team is now making waves. So well earned. But you got to admit that is a lot of money for a guy who basically just had one good season. But who cares? The Talbot situation, I kind of look at that as Billy G taking a huge sky dump on the agent's car, like from the top of the CN Tower type of sky dump. Mind you, he gets to go and be a starter for a team who's going to be a lot more competitive than they were. So I don't know if Talbot necessarily gets fucked because of this, but more so put in a situation where it's like, hey, you got 1 year left in your deal, man. And I know you're getting a little bit older, but if you want to go prove that you can be a starter, go prove that you can be a starter and secure your own bag. And then you don't really have to share the net with Flower. So I'll throw it over to you, Whit. Like, what do you make of, you think that that's a big fuck you from Billy G to the agent?
Not necessarily, because I think the agent just kind of wanted him out of there. That's how I took it, right? Like, he almost got what he hoped for, right? In terms of like getting the chance to be the number one. That Norris signing, I was playing golf with Kevin Hayes. He was telling me, he's like, dude, this kid is sick. And you look back to when you realize that you're going to have to trade a superstar that in the end will be a depreciating asset as he gets older, in the way that Erik Karlsson was traded. And now you look at Josh Norris as being the guy that was a part of that deal. It's like, that's a good trade. I mean, it was hard at the time, and they had gotten to the game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final, and you end up losing Eric Carlson, but look at what you have now. You have a true number one center, and that line with Tkachuk and Batherson is sick. And then on the second line, you're going to have Giroux, you're going to have DeBrincat, and you're going to have Stützle. So it's like, I think maybe we mentioned like that top six, dude, is looking really nice. I don't know if they'll get in playoffs. Like you said, Biz, I think
defense
that
are too thin.
Their defense aren't exactly where they need to be, but it's a start. And my biggest thing is I've long said Ottawa would be in my top 5 places I'd never want to play. But it all had something to do with where their friggin' rink is. And if you've never been to a game, I'm telling you, it's in the middle of fucking nowhere. Absolute nowhere. You're just in fields, giant fields with nothing near you. If they get a rink downtown, dude, that changes everything. Everything. And I think what you said, either one of you guys, in terms of getting a team that can compete and getting a team that can be a little more competitive, it makes it easier to possibly get this rink downtown, where then the same way if the Coyotes can get a fucking rink in Scottsdale or wherever it's going to be, Tempe, there needs to be like the rink in an area that players want to play in. It's so much more important than people think. But now with this team, it's going to be a better team. They're much improved. Maybe that really helps them get a rink where the team could actually succeed, because where it's at now is a disgrace.
And I mean, we didn't really touch on DeBrincat that much. I know you just mentioned him briefly. He's going to be on the second line with Giroux and Stützle. I don't know what Chicago was thinking on that one. I mean, I understand my whole theory on that one. I had my Chuck Fletcher theory, but my theory is Chicago's trying to make that team as bad as possible to the point where Patrick Kane and Taves are like, all right, we're going to waive our no move clause. Fuck, we'll even go to Arizona if we have to. That's kind of where I think that situation's at. But to give DeBrincat up, a young stud who can put the puck in the back of the net, and I commend the guy in Chicago because I think he's made a lot of good moves. Like he ended up getting draft picks for Flower. He's gotten rid of a lot of to make the team as shit as possible. But when a guy's that young and that good, I think that might be one component that you want to keep. But credit to Ottawa for being able to lock him up. And now they have a very deadly top 6. So very happy with the moves they've made, and that's why they're at the top of the list here at the podcast as far as discussions.
2 teams that never ever would have been described as organizations that might be really making the biggest steps in the free agency market come July. So it's cool to see markets that kind of deserve to have some big signings go their way. The same way Biz mentioned with the Columbus fans finally fired up and celebrating for once.
Absolutely, yeah. Ottawa, they got to get a top 4 D, but they got a great coach, DJ Smith. Obviously, I bet the shit out of him last year. I watched him a ton. The team never quit, man. They did not quit. No matter how much they were down, they always battled back. So, bringing in guys like Talbot, Giroux, DeBrincat, they can only probably get better, I would imagine. Meanwhile, they had a deal with their, provincial rival, Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs, man, their goaltender, talk about a merry-go-round. They ended up getting Matt Murray from Ottawa, a 3rd and 23 and a 7th and 24 for the old future considerations. Basically, it was a salary dump. Ottawa's going to eat, I think, 25% of the contract. Now, obviously, Murray, he's a kid when he went to Ottawa. I was like, man, I want this kid to resuscitate his career. It was such a great story. Then, I know his dad passed away and he just kind of was struggling a bit. But if you're the Leafs, man, you're a contender. You're trying to get to the cup area, and you're bringing in a guy who's somewhat of a reclamation project. It's a real roll of the dice. And, if he's not the answer, is this it for Dubas? I mean, he's going to be on the clock.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. And I know I mentioned to Weeksy on last week's episode, I cannot believe they're willing to put their future, this team that could truly win a Stanley Cup, in the hands of Matt Murray. But then the news breaks of Samsonov, right? And that is such a big signing, because I will never sit here and say that Samsonov might be the true number 1 by the end of this season. And I think Biz bringing up that Dubas has such a history with Murray, and it all goes back to the Sioux, correct, Biz?
Well, Weeksy brought it up, but when I saw it go down, that he's loyal like a dog to these people in the Sioux. And one name that Weeksy didn't even bring up was Bunting. Bunting was there too, right? So I believe that when Dubas brings his guys in, he gives them a level of comfort to where they're able to excel and play to the best of their abilities. all right, when you ask the question, if this doesn't succeed, is he done?
If they don't get,
you got to imagine if they don't get out of the first round, they just really don't have any other cards to play.
We said that this year, Biz. Sorry to interrupt, but then it was such a great series.
Correct.
It was like you can't. Even the Leafs hater, I said after, you cannot get rid of the coach or the GM after that season.
No. But to take it, a lot of people very critical of the fact that Dubas didn't make a lot of moves on free agency. Well, they don't have the cap space. They signed the guys and they're rolling the dice, or not rolling the dice. Let me rephrase that.
And they got Yarncroke today. I like that move.
They got Yarncroke. Now that they gave him 4 years, which seemed to be a lot of years for a guy who got moved at the deadline, went to Calgary. And I think the overall perception is maybe Calgary was a little bit underwhelmed with what he brought come playoff time. But I'm okay. They locked in Giordano and got him at a very fair price. I want to say he signed for $800K. So they already locked in a great defenseman, considering they're already the guys that they have. They didn't revisit Campbell, from what my understanding is. So I kind of felt that wasn't going to happen when the GM for Chicago, I don't even fucking know his name, no offense. He spilt the beans on that they were kicking tires on Flower at the deadline. And then Dubas was fucking pissed because it basically ensured that he didn't maybe have as much confidence as we expected in Jack Campbell. Well, then I heard that they were just maybe so far off, or he didn't even offer anything to Campbell, assuming that he was going to get offered more years and maybe even more money come free agency, which we'll get to later. So am I overwhelmed with the moves that he made at the deadline? No, but he risked it on bringing in a guy that he's comfortable with, that he thinks is training and has a mind frame in which he's going to come back and get back to exactly where he was when he was a back-to-back Stanley Cup champion for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I am all in on Dubas. I'm pushing my chips in. I said it a couple podcasts ago. I think they're going to win back-to-back cups. I don't give a fuck who thinks I'm crazy about this. Everyone, let's start with one. Screw you. At least I have a fucking opinion on it. I like the move. And I think that Murray's going to get back to exactly where he was. And I'm happy. I'm happy with what they did in free agency.
All right. Well, we shall see. Another Canadian team who had some goalie issues, even though they went far this year, the Edmonton Oilers, they hope they have their solution in the aforementioned Jack Campbell, who they signed to a 5-year deal for $25 million. They also re-upped Evander Kane for 4 years, $20.5 million. Brett Kulak is back for 4 years. He was pretty big for them in the playoffs, and they added Matthias Janmark as well. But Biz, is Campbell the guy that's going to help McDavid get to the promised land?
I'll take this one over. I'm an Oilers fan. And
I'll say one thing before handing it over. I thought Ken Holland had a tremendous free agency. And
Big
credit
time.
to you and your team, Whit. Once
Big
an Oiler,
time.
always an Oiler. Over to you.
And as an Oilers fan, and maybe sometimes considered the voice of Oilers Nation, this is about as good as we could be expected, right? Because there's not much money to go around, but we got a goalie. And Mike Smith did a hell of a job. He can't play anymore. He's battling injury, doing the best he could. Really wasn't on him. Colorado was so fucking good it didn't matter. But now you got Jack Campbell, hungry, ready to prove something. And the Kulak signing was big. I know people talk about actually, wow, they were able to keep Evander Kane at a pretty good number. The reason they were able to keep Evander Kane is because I don't think, and it might be the same with Nazem Kadri right now, I don't think the offers were out there that they maybe considered would be. You know, there was no 6-year deal at $5 a year for Evander Kane. And you look back at the success he had, it's almost like, all right, well, why would I switch things up? Things went so good when I came over. But Kulak was a guy that you heard was probably gonzo, bunch of different teams expressing interest, and he had a great run when he came over, and they were able to bring him back. So it's like, all right, now we're looking at basically the exact same team, plus a little step up in net. And granted, Colorado isn't going anywhere. Now, they did lose a few things, but they're still going to be there looking to win another cup. But the Oilers made it to the Western Conference Final, and I think, if anything, got better. So when you look at the overall prior years of free agency in Edmonton, when things never really went that great, and it's really hard to sign guys and blah, blah, blah. Well, this was finally a summer where you're like, all right, because of the way last season came about and ended, even though we got swept, the team made a big step forward, and this offseason didn't hurt us in any way. It actually helped us. So for me, looking at like Draisaitl, McDavid, and what that team really did when they really started humming along at the end of the year, I'm very excited for the season to come, and I thought it was a great job by Ken Holland.
And expect some growth from some of their younger guys who just get another year of experience. Like Yamamoto was out with a concussion when they
got to sign him and Puljujärvi. They're both restricted, and they have ARB rights.
I think they're trying to get rid of Puljujärvi. Am I saying that he's not going to keep getting back? I don't think he's got the best hockey sense, and I think that maybe it's time to move on from him.
Was he third in the draft, Granelli, when Kako went second?
I think, third or fourth overall.
Because if that's, those two are, I don't know about 2 and 3 if that was the same draft. I could be way off there. But I know, Biz, he's improved. He went back to Finland that 1 year, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if.
And RA, I don't know if we mentioned this last podcast. Had Duncan Keith retired at that point?
Yeah, we gave him his props last
and you know, with him coming off the books, it couldn't have worked out better for Ken Holland from a sense where they could replenish themselves with signing Kane to a somewhat long-term deal, bringing him back. Because if they don't bring him back, that's a totally different lineup.
Would have been a kick
especially
in the
with the fact that they ended up moving on from Cassian as well, and to get rid of that contract and then lose some toughness and then get the toughness back and then be able to basically transfer that money just into Evander Kane's pocket. That is a dream type scenario. And I think that the Edmonton Oilers are top 4 teams in the West right now, and they are looking primed and ready to go. I don't know who else they have in the pipeline, but look out. They could get there. They could get to the promised lands.
Wait, Jesse Puljujärvi went 4th overall in the 2016 NHL draft. That was right. The year Austin Matthews went first overall.
I was right once again.
I don't know shit.
Biz, you think that D still needs a little bit of help though, Edmonton?
Yeah, but listen, I think that Bouchard made a lot of strides. I think that he's going to get better.
Nurse
next year.
was so injured.
Nurse was his groin was hanging on by a thread. And, you know, they got Tyson Barrie, who's got experience, who can help out on the power play. So if they could find some diamond in the rough in order to get help and solidify a very competent top 4, I think that the Edmonton Oilers are in very good shape. And I said it right after we left there. That's the Green Bay Packers of the NHL. I want that fan base to thrive. They're obsessed. They're hockey obsessed. They should be in playoffs every year. Not
to mention that they're now in the moment of that team's kind of not history, but they're in the moment as an organization of like every deadline now they're going to be looking to add. So you can really make some additions come deadline time, come halfway through the year in terms of what you think you need to make that next step, because it's win now mode with those guys and where they're sitting.
Ken Holland needs to continue what he did in free agency and pull off a Joe Sakic type deadline to add the proper pieces for them to get to the promised lands, in my opinion. And I think he can do it. I still think he's got a little bit of magic in that noggin of his.
All right. Moving right along, we got a word from our friends at Shopify. Shopify is the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big business, so upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Shopify offers online retailers a suite of services, including payments, marketing, shipping, and customer engagement tools. Connect with your customers, drive sales, manage your day-to-day. Shopify instantly lets you accept all major payment methods. Shopify has thousands of integrations and third-party apps, from on-demand printing to accounting to advanced chatbots and beyond. So go to shopify.com/chiclets, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/chiclets right now. A lot of shopping going on in the NHL still because teams be shopping, and the Carolina Hurricanes, they're shopping for a Stanley Cup because they made a couple of huge moves. They acquired defenseman Brett Burns and Lane Peterson from San Jose for Steve Lorentz, goalie prospect E2 Makiniemi, and a conditional 3rd and 23. And they also got forward Max Pacioretty and defenseman Dylan Coughlin from Vegas for future considerations, which is nothing really. Burns still has 3 years left at $8 million. San Jose is retaining a third of that, $2.7 mil. And Pacioretty is in the last year of his deal, making $7 mil. They also signed forward Andre Kasha at a year for $1.5 mil. But I mean, Carolina was already a contender with. Well, actually, I'll go to you, Biz. They were already a contender. To Burns and Pacioretty, put them over the top. I mean, it's win or bust now with these guys, no?
One of the truest things ever said in this podcast was Whit saying they just don't have a superstar. They don't have that game breaker. Well, they have what they have locked up as far as that core group. So what do? You go add more guys to the list who can just help carry the weight, who can help tug that rope. And you add basically automatic 30-goal scorer in Pacioretty, and another guy, a big body. Losing Tony DeAngelo, and everybody knew it was going to happen because he was on a 1-year deal at $1 million with Carolina. He did unbelievable. But to get a guy and a big body like Brent Burns, the theme of this podcast is the small markets in the NHL are now thriving, and I fucking couldn't be happier. They are a true contender right now. If you look down the list, they have so many big names that can help win them a cup. This to me is going to be their best opportunity to do so, and they got 1 year to do it because Patches only has 1 year left on that deal. It's awesome to see. And we're going to get to Vegas after, and the fact of why they had to give up Patches for essentially nothing. But great job by Carolina to continue the growth of this organization with Rob the Bod.
I think that they looked at their team and looked at trying to compete against the top teams in the league and thought, like, we really need star power. It's been so obvious. And then to make those moves, I was impressed. If they had just got Burns, I was like, wow, that's a big deal. He plays with Slave. And I think Brind'Amour already said that's how we're going to try to start it out. What a power combo that is.
Goodness.
And then boom, Pacioretty's there. And it's like, they now have guys to play with Aho to end up hopefully getting Netchas, whatever you say his name, going, who's shown at times that he's a complete stud. There's just so many different options now for them up front with how they can work it. Now, losing Trocheck's kind of a kick in the dick, so that's a tough one. But they still have a team now that is going to compete to win their division and really have a better chance to win the Stanley Cup than any other year prior. I'm with you, Biz.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly better than last year. Looking forward to seeing them on the ice. Pittsburgh, after all that drama with Gino, he decides to stay there after all. Signs a 4-year, $24.4 million deal, a $6.1 million cap hit. Per cap friendly, Malkin is 5th on their all-time career earnings tracker with $118 million. He will pass Shea Weber and Jaromir Jagr with this new deal when it finishes. You know who number one is?
For career earnings?
On their list, yeah.
Right ahead of Ovechkin.
Who'd you say, Biz?
I said it's Sidney Crosby right ahead of Ovechkin.
Yep, Sid number one with 138 million plus, and then Ovi about $1 million behind him,
which is how it should be.
Not too shabby. So yeah, they obviously got Malcolm. They brought Ricard Raquel back, 6 years, $30 million. They brought in free agent defenseman Jan Ruta, 3 years, $8.25 million, who just won the 2 cups with Tampa, so he brings that pedigree with him. And then a couple trades as well. They acquired Jeff Petrie and Ryan Poling from Montreal for Michael Matheson. Petrie's got 3 more years left at $6.25 million. And then they also obtained Ty Smith from New Jersey, and New Jersey took him 17th overall back in 2018, and they gave up John Reno back to Jersey. Whit, as the D guy, what's your take on those moves?
They had to make some moves on D. Petrie's, coming off a tough year, but who in Montreal didn't have a tough year? And I think prior to that, it was one of those players where you look at like the Edmonton Oilers of the past and say, what the fuck are you doing getting rid of a guy like this? I played with him early on in his career. I've said it many times. You could tell he was going to be a stud. Skates like the wind, passes hard, accurate, can shoot the puck. And he got over to Montreal and really kind of became the player he is today. I mean, he signed a huge deal. You mentioned he's making $6 million. And last year, I think they were looking to trade him. They would have liked to, but he was having a tough year. And, you can't really trade a guy making that much dough when he's not playing good hockey. But to be able to change how he was playing once St. Louis came in, and to understand that, like, if you're the Penguins, you look at this guy, he can play a ton of minutes, dude. And Mike Matheson has times when he's so dynamic, but in terms of like being reliable and knowing what you're getting every night, like every coach, you want to know what you're going to get. Petrie, for the most part, take away last year, is very consistent, right? Whereas Matheson has certain turnovers in certain games, you're just like, what is going on? I don't know necessarily enough about Ty Smith, but I do know that John Marino was not in Mike Sullivan's good graces, I'll say.
Well, he had a great first year and then just...
Oh, he had a monster first year and then just kind of, I mean, he was getting healthy scratch last year and it's like, all right, time to move on. But the Petrie deal is big because I think it'll rejuvenate him as a player and a person. And all of a sudden you're going from, well, Montreal's looking great for the future. And I think in 4 years, you're looking at a team who could be a complete wagon. But right now for Petrie, where he is in his career, he wants a chance to win. And Pittsburgh's gunning for another cup final before this all ends with those three guys. So I love the moves. I respect the moves. And I think Petrie's going to have a big year.
Yeah. I look at that Marino and Ty Smith situation as they just need a change of scenery.
Yep.
Complete straight up wife swap, both soft sixes, give a hell of a rinse, tons of upside, obviously, with that. And, you know, hopefully they can both flourish in their new environments. I think both had very good first years and then dipped and regressed a little bit. So, I guess the joke going on online is how old Pittsburgh is now. Like, fuck off with the fucking, oh, okay. All these fucking nerds online, they care about, like, the minute the team's average age gets up to like 30, they're like, oh, fucking put them in old folks home. Like, what are you talking about? What that move and getting Petrie, that 1-2 combo of now having Letang and Petrie, locking in Evgeny Malkin, the fact that they ended up re-signing Raquel, I thought Raquel was strong. Obviously, he wasn't himself after he got rocked against the Rangers.
That fucking hit, dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think he ended up coming back in game 7.
Yeah, and he wasn't. I mean, he probably shouldn't have even been playing.
But it justifies what they gave up in order to get them, and then it also gives a guy for Malkin to play with, right? And hopefully they continue to develop that chemistry. Whereas I don't know how many times I've said it so far on this podcast, but Ron Hextall had probably one of the best free I don't know what people's expectations were in Pittsburgh and what he was going to be able to accomplish and bringing the band back together, but he hit it out of the park. And for the next season or two, they're going to be able to make one final run for the quote unquote last dance. I thought the last dance was last season when they were going to bring back Flower, and I had this whole story made up in my mind how it was all going to come to fruition. Well, no, but they get the chance to run it back a couple more times with the moves that Ron Hextall's made. It's just unfortunate he didn't save all of his good ones for when he was in Philly.
A lot of moves, but did they improve enough to be considered a bona fide contender in the East?
Buddy, they got Crosby, Malkin,
exactly.
Letang.
All
They
right.
got good goaltending in Jari. It's just a shame that he ended up getting hurt as well. I think that there is not a chicken dick's chance in hell you can count this team. They completely outplayed the Rangers and deserved to win that series. They would have went on to beat Carolina, and they would have found themselves in the conference finals against Tampa Bay. 100%. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. This team has another run left in them.
All right, a team that hasn't had a run for a while, but they're slowly building to hopefully making a shitload of them. The Plan in Detroit.
Oh, my goodness.
Slowly but surely coming together in Motown.
Guy.
Wings were very aggressive on the free agent market. Signed forward Andrew Kopp, 5 years, $28.125 million. Not too bad for an AHLer. Forward David Perron, 2 years, $9.5 million. Defenseman Ben Sherratt, 4 years, $19 million. Dominic Kubalik, 2 years, $5 million. And Oli Mata, a year at $2.25 million. Again, that's a lot of players to bring in. You got new goalie. You got what do you call it? The two young guys there, Raymond and Sutter. They're going to be better next year. Is this enough to make them contend for a playoff spot this year? Or what?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not yet. And Simon or Simone Edvinsson, that defenseman coming over. I've brought this guy up a lot. Wait till you see this monster, but not yet. And I think that the Cobb signing's their best one. I love that guy's game. He can play up and down a lineup. He proved how much he can score with the Rangers and at times with the Jets. I love that move. The one that was getting dogged a little bit was Sherratt. And I think you saw Sherratt struggle a little bit in Florida, and you saw what they gave up for him, and now he's gone. And you see, what the fuck? He's making over $4 million. Kind of similar to how surprising the Gabranson deal was. But listen, they were getting shellacked at the end of the season, Detroit. They needed to do something where, like, all right, we need to improve. And if we're going to pay this type of money for a guy like Sherrod, the cap's going to go up in the next year or two. And if we get 2 years and maybe isn't the player that we thought he's going to be, you look and you reassess from where the team's standing at that point. But they had to spend some dough and bring in some veterans in terms of, like, there has to be improvement. And when you talk, I think a long time ago, before maybe last year, I talked about, maybe Detroit just wants to kind of tank and be really bad for a couple of years. You get a high pick, then you get another high pick. Maybe you get Connor Bedard after the 2023 season. And it's like, you don't want your young players learning to be okay with losing. And Detroit ended up at the second half. The first half was great, but in the second half, it was a nightmare. And you cannot go into the season with a similar type lineup and just think, all right, well, maybe we'll get a high draft pick, but these guys are going to become accustomed to getting beat like this. And so now you bring in some guys who maybe are considered overpayments, but have proven to be legit NHL players and can help this team not get to the playoffs. Now, hopefully that's what they do, but at least take a step to be a better competitive club.
Bingo. You got to learn from the guys around you. Look at, like, they got Perron. One of them.
That's a fucking awesome one.
Awesome signing. And those younger guys get to see a guy like that with the experience.
Who won it.
What he can do on the power play, like all the little subtleties to his game that make him the elite player that he is. You have to learn from other guys, and you need those veterans in order to nurture the young players. And then they got Husso in net. So I look at them the same way I look at Columbus, the same way I look at Ottawa. I think that they're going to be a cusp team. They're going to be on the outside looking in, but just a drastic improvement to the shellackings they were taking. The Goon Squad was taking in the second half of that season. So how do you fucking say no? Stevie Y, it should be it should be a league rule that he can't hop on the phone to try to sign guys, because you probably can't even say no to him. That's why moving forward, man, they're gonna continue to get guys, because talk about an undercover place to play too. People love playing in Detroit, and now that they're not a complete laughing stock, they're just gonna keep getting better and better and better.
And best of luck to my pal Newsy, head coach this year. I hope he has some success there.
How did you not break that signing?
I tried. I believe me. I put feelers out, but do you know who did? The team. No. Eiserman.
There you go.
Remember, he was the only guy to not give in his Seattle pick.
Yeah.
Hey,
Believe me, I was fishing for it. I was dropping hints left and right.
Hey, I have one of my best friends is now working for the team. I'm not even going to say in what position, because I don't want to screw him over. But he was like, sealed tight. Don't tell a soul. Don't mention my name on the. It's just they got. What do you even call that? When you have this brass that we're
code of silence.
They have this code of silence where, did you already say the word right beforehand?
No.
People would get fired there. Telling you, it's all about trust.
If you're Stevie Y is the guy from the Fockers.
And weed.
Meet the Fockers.
Yeah, so
that's how they swear them in. They got to rip the circle. Bong. Yeah, the circle of the bong.
This is
tree.
you, Greg. I got nipples, Greg.
Funny
Can you
one.
milk me?
Let's see. The New Jersey Devils, another team that got a player most people probably weren't expecting to go there. Andre Palat, a playoff savant in Tampa the last few years, signed a 5-year, $30 million deal with the Devils. The 31-year-old forward, 7th-round draft pick way back in 2011. He's got a no-move clause and a modified no-trade clause for the last 2 years of the deal. Again, New Jersey, I just mentioned they also got defenseman John Marino from Pittsburgh. They got Eric Haller from the Bruins, giving up Pavel Zacha. And let's see, were you shocked, Whit, that Palat ended up in Jersey? Not to pick on him, but another city, another player, no one really had them going there.
Not really.
Before you chime in, I just got to say that no team makes my dick softer than the fucking New Jersey Devils. Like, they do nothing for me.
I know. I think I don't know, playing in that rink, it's just, I know, man. You hope to think that Hughes makes another step to become that dominant player he looked like last year. And I don't know, man. It's like such an organization right now that you feel like, as close as they were, according to Johnny Gaudreau, really could have used him signing there, right? Just for some excitement, just for some more blood in there in terms of like getting the fans excited for the season. Because I'm with you, Biz. It's like, oh, well, what are the Devils doing now? Palat, that is a move you make when you're trying to change the culture, in a sense of like bringing in somebody who knows what it takes to win. It's similar to Perron in Detroit in terms of like, this guy has played in so many big games and has done so many little things that it takes to win, but it's going to be hard for him to recreate any of the magic he had in Tampa with Jersey in the lineup. And I mentioned that as people were kind of surprised Tampa was willing to let him walk, that's a depreciating asset. I said it before. It's like a Bill Belichick. Like, this guy is not exactly like in the next few years going to look like he has the past 2 years. And because of that, they're willing to move on. And then you see a team like Jersey who needs culture and needs a winner to come in and be willing to pay a guy something that Tampa just wasn't willing to pay. So I think it's a good signing for that team. But I don't think you're going to see a guy who's getting 30 goals and 60 points.
And assuming they do sign Vanacek, who's an RFA, they acquired him in a trade. How far away are they, Biz, from being not necessarily a contender, but just, in the mix again? They got some nice pieces.
I just don't really give a fuck.
I don't know their prospects. I don't know.
They just don't do it for me. I don't know what Frank the Tank's going to listen to this, and I know he's going to be upset. Maybe we should get him on to break the team down.
Ooh.
That would be interesting.
And maybe it's because maybe I'm being so negative because I'm a little bit envious. I don't know if you guys saw the videos. Jack Hughes was at like some white party in the Hamptons, probably getting rockets left and right, easy fucking notches. It could be that, but I hope he takes the next step, and I hope that team has success. And I like Fitzy, their GM too. Nothing. I don't even want to talk about them.
All right. Well, Biz, just talking about Palat, we got to talk about the team he left, Tampa Bay Lightning. They brought back old friend Vladislav Namestnikov, your boy, for another go-round, signed the forward to a one-year deal worth $2.5 million. And then they locked up 3 key pieces. They gave 3 8-year deals out. This is kind of crazy. I don't know if you've seen this before. Chiarelli got 8 years, $50 million. Sergachev, 8 years, $68 million. Chernak, 8 years, $41.6 million. Then they brought in Ian Cole for a year at $3 million. Wait, were you surprised at Sergachev's number 8.5 a year for the next 8 years?
Not really.
Okay.
He's so good, and he's only scratching the surface to how good he could really become. I think they are so lucky to have him. Like, it's just such a talent because he skates so well. He's big enough to play against anyone. He's got a great shot. He's great at the point offensively, and more than anything, he hasn't been thrust into a role that's like maybe too early for him, because he's been able to just watch Hedman. And I would love to talk to the kid someday, because there's just zero chance that Hedman hasn't had such an impact on him as a player and a person, because when you're around one of the best defensemen in the league every single day at such a young age, you're going to nonstop realize like what it takes to be that good. So when they end up really paying him all this dough, and I know that's a big deal right now, but you're looking in 2-3 years for him to really make that step to a true number one. And I think no problem he could. I really do. I think those deals with Cirelli too, like the way Cirelli plays, and being a guy who will be a Selke finalist and somebody whose offense will probably continue to get better. It's like, those are great signings. It's just like, the question is like, where is their money? How do they have so much money? And like, seeing them spend that much dough in one day was crazy.
Well, they got rid of McDonough and they didn't sign Palat, right?
Yep.
So those were the two losses, and you just mentioned Sergachev and what his ceiling could be. He gets a little bit of added pressure at the loss of McDonough, right? He can't hide behind him and Hedman, so he was
third pair, I think.
Yeah, he now has to take that second defensive role, and then they end up giving that other deal to Cernak, who I think he's proven himself. The sample size of these guys and what they got for a contract is what they've earned. And eventually you have to move on. You kind of talked about that Bill Belichick mentality, and we're going to see if these moves end up paying off, but they're not easy decisions to make. But I'm confident that Breezebraw made the right ones. And then you mentioned the Ian Cole. It's kind of like them getting the Savard again, or them getting another Bogosian type player. It's just, they know what they're doing. And I have all the confidence in the world that they kept the right pieces for that core group in order for them to continue to have continued success. So they're
not going anywhere.
I was surprised though that they ended up moving on from Palat, given with what not only has he done for them over that period of time, but when the big moments come, he was always there to deliver. Interested to see what he can now do outside of having that core group surrounding him, though, because $6 million was a pretty big tag for him in New Jersey. So still think that these guys are contenders. They're always going to be a contender with Vasilevsky and net, and no complaints on what they handed over to each guy.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they went to a Stanley Cup once again. I know they're probably a little dog-tired, but that seems essentially the same, man. They're stacked in the dynasty where they could win a third, man. Wouldn't shock me. Well, fourth in the franchise, but third in this run. So the St. Louis Blues, I know when you mentioned it already, they locked up stud forward Robert Thomas. They gave him an 8-year, $65 million deal. Comes out to a little over $8 million a year. He's got a no-trade clause years 3 through 7, modified no-trade in year 8. He had 77 points in 72 games last year. He really had his coming-out party. Taken 20th in the 17 draft. They also re-upped defenseman Nick Leddy, who they got at the deadline. 4-year, $16 million deal. And they extended Nico Mikkola a year, $1.9 million. I know they were, had a good run last year, and the injuries not screwed them up a little. But people maybe sleeping on the Blues a little bit because everyone's talking about all the other teams. I mean, this team could be right back in the finals as well, no?
Oh, yeah. And who gave Colorado the best fight they got? Right?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, St. Louis, they nearly took them to the limit, man.
It's funny. Like I think Berube's such a good coach that when you look at that team and like Ryan O'Reilly and the way he's taught guys. Now the one issue is being Perron is such a big loss. I
know. I was just going to say I don't think they make playoffs.
Because you really don't think they make playoffs?
That's a guy who him and Ryan O'Reilly had a ridiculous amount of chemistry. And now, like, I love the Thomas signing. I think they got worse. And they lost Husso, who was their starting goalie throughout the regular season. It's going to all depend on if Binnington can have a bounce back season. And that's in the 82. Was he excellent in playoffs for the time of period he was put net? Absolutely. But he wasn't there in the regular season like Husso was. Now they lose Perron on top of that. I like Nick Leddy. I don't necessarily know if he's a 4x4 type of guy, but
this is where, though, it's like almost unfair of us not knowing their prospect pool. And in terms of like maybe Armstrong's looking and seeing guys who can fill in and seeing people he thinks he can take a step and replace Perron that we don't know about. But yeah, I will say maybe they didn't improve this free agency. The Husso thing's true. I mean, now you need Binnington to play good hockey, which he did throughout a lot of the year, but you don't have that backup. You don't have that safety net. And Husso was good enough to really kind of take the job over. You're right. So Perron's a huge deal. Also crazy that it was the first time Perron's ever signed a contract with any team other than the St. Louis Blues.
So
yeah, that's wild.
I'm not trying to be negative either. I just think that the losses that they've suffered, I want to see it. I want to see these prospects and who they have filling in for certain types of roles. And if they do end up showing up, guess what? I'll put this fucker right in my mouth like I always do.
You'll delete the tape.
Let's see. New York
I own my mistakes. I've got my head shaved on national television, bro.
The New York Rangers signed Vinny Trocheck to his 7-year, $39.375 million deal. Comes out to $5.6 a year. Also signed Yaroslav Halak to back up Shesterkin and net, 1 year, $1.5 million. And they traded Patrick Nemeth and picks to Arizona. That was more or less a salary dump to make some room. The Rangers were right there last season. They really don't need to make a bunch of moves. Is Trocheck an improvement over Strome, or about the same, or what?
I look at him as more of a replacement for not signing Kopp, which I was surprised that I guess they didn't even make an offer to Kopp. So I love Trocheck's game. He's got a little bit of sandpaper to him. He'll finish hits. He can score. He can make plays. He's good along the walls. He's just a great, overall hockey player. So a great signing, in my opinion. I don't think overall the Strome loss is going to affect them long term. It sucks. He was extremely well liked. I was happy that after coming over from Edmonton, he was able to revive his career, because I know things didn't maybe go as expected in Edmonton, but no, I really like the signing, and I think that New York is being very smart about saving money, not only for guys that they're going to have to pay, like Keandre Miller moving forward. I believe that Fox's deal kicks in this year at $9 million per. So I don't know exactly how much salary cap space that they have left, but I am still all in on the fact that they're going to find a way to get Patrick Kane at the deadline next year. You guys think I'm fucking crazy?
No,
right?
I don't.
No.
I don't. I've said that. I've said that would be so sick.
And if they don't do it, I'll rip on him even more. I hate the organization.
All right. Colorado Avalanche, they re-signed 4 guys who helped them win the cup. Valerie Nichushkin, 8 years, $49 million. Darren Helm, 1 year, $1.25 million. Arturi Lehkonen was huge for them, 5 years, $22.5 million. And defenseman Josh Manson, 4 years, $18 million. Basically, what would keep the Avs from repeating next year?
I mean, there's rumors that Kadri still may end up back there. If he doesn't go back there, that's a huge loss, right? You lose one of your top players, really. But I don't know, RA. It's really hard to imagine a point in next year's playoffs when Colorado isn't looking like the favorite to win the Stanley Cup. It's like you get in these grooves, and you saw it with Pittsburgh, and you were surprised the years it took Washington so long, but every year they had a good team, and now you just see this friggin' wagon in Colorado. It's like Makar's so young. McKinnon has so much more hockey. I think that the way Nichushkin played, it's like, holy shit, they got this horse buzzing now. There's just so many different players there that are at the peak or not even at the peak of their career. And Lehkonen was such a great re-sign because I didn't know if they'd be able to kind of keep him. And what a gamer he was. I mean, that guy came over from a Montreal team who went to the Stanley Cup final. He did the exact same type thing in terms of scoring big goals. So I don't see anything really slowing them down. Maybe if somehow goaltending isn't great, I think in the end, though, that they're going to be right there. They'll be in the Western Conference final again, I bet. That's why Edmonton's in such a tough place, even though they get better and better and have these 2 superstars. It's like this fucking Colorado in the way.
So I think they're going to have to move on from an important piece, and I think that they're going to move on from Girard.
I know, but like they won it without him.
Right, but he's still an excellent piece.
Yeah.
I was shocked at Manson re-signing there at the cap hit in which he did. No disrespect to him. I thought he had an excellent playoffs. The longer this goes, the longer I believe that Joe Sakic is figuring out a way to bring Kadri back. The way that I think they do it is I think that he's going to be okay making Landeskog money, which is,
dude, I don't think he might even. Yeah, I don't even know if he'll get that
7.5.
Dude,
I think that what's going to happen.
He's a second line center, man.
He in the first half,
you don't hold on. You don't think that right now he was probably expecting bigger offers to be out there?
Okay, so I think that he's just giving them time to make it work. And the way that they're going to do that with giving them a lower AVV or AAV, however the fuck you say it, is I don't think Colorado typically gives out the big signing bonus money at the start of the year like the teams like New York can afford, like Toronto can afford. But in this situation, if they want to repeat, in order to solidify bringing him back, I think that they're orchestrating a deal where they're going to front load the fuck out of that thing, and they're going to get
trade Girard.
They're going to have to move somebody who's a significant piece, considering they were able to get it done without him when he went down, and then seeing them give the 4x4 to Manson makes me believe that they're going to move on from him, which makes me.
It's a tough deal to move, though. It makes a lot of go.
Kadri in the first half of the season was a guy who was probably in the top 5, if not top 10 in Hart conversation for what he was accomplishing with the injuries that they did have to their lineup. I want to say McKinnon missed some time. I want to say Landeskog missed some time, and he put that fucking team on his back. So we can call him a second line center every day of the week, but he's the best second line center in the league, or at least top 3. So do I think he should command at least $7.5 million? Absolutely. Because in some cases, he'd be some team's first line center. But I believe that after winning and being in an enjoyable environment says a lot. I think the longer this goes, the more that he's going back to Colorado. I think there's not a chicken dick's chance that he doesn't sign in Colorado. There. I think I've summarized that well.
Yeah, seems like the longer it goes, the more likely he is to go back there, because other team would have probably thrown him the money by now.
How much cap space do they have right now? And maybe G can find it. If you don't have it, RA, we can keep moving on. But they are for sure number one right now as far as is the Cup favorites going into next season if they're able to re-sign Gaudreau.
Well, it might be
There's so real quick, the Colorado Avalanche have $3,900,000 in cap space.
What's Gerard's cap hit?
Gerard's
Five,
cap,
I think.
Gerard's cap hit is $5 million until 26-27.
I don't know.
Right.
I think yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah,
Probably have to move him.
Some will have to go, definitely, if they do bring him back. But, Chiclets Cup this week. It's going to be hot up there. We're going to need a lot of hydration, and that's where our friends at Body Armor come in. Body Armor is made for today's athlete that deserves more than just a sports drink. It's got potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Today's athletes deserve more than your grandfather's tired, old, salty sports drink, which is full of artificial dyes. That's where Body Armor Sport comes in. They got the old strawberry banana, fruit punch, blue raspberry, watermelon strawberry, and more. And they got the new Mamba Forever, which is strawberry grape flavor. I got to give that one a try. That sounds like it's pretty tasty. Either way, stay hydrated with Body Armor, whether you're at the Chiclets Cup or just hanging at your house. It's the sports drink for today's athletes. All flavors of Body Armor are available for order on Amazon right now, and you can learn more at drinkbodyarmor.com. Check that stuff out. Good stuff, man, especially when you got to get rehydrated in the Chiclets Cup. All right, we got to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights. A couple of years ago, they were sort of the golden boy of the league, a little bit biz. Everybody was all over them. They had that nice first-year run, and now they're kind of like the Goldilocks of the NHL. They're never satisfied. This one's too small. This one's too hot. They can't find the right porridge, and then when they do, they get rid of it for fucking future considerations, it seems like. They did sign Riley Smith. He's going to stay put, 3-year deal, $15 million, but they traded Pat Chiaretti in a $7 million contract to Carolina. They got nothing back. This was after they gave up Nick Suzuki, Thomas Tatar, and a second-round pick for him. They keep him for 4 years, get rid of him. Same thing with getting Jack Eichel. They get rid of Alex Tuck, Peyton Krebs, a first and a second. That's a pretty good bounty. And also the goalie shit last year. Marc-Andre Fleury and Robin Leonard. They get rid of Marc-Andre Fleury for nothing. And then they shit-can Gerard Gallant, bring in Pete DeBoer. And then they fire Pete DeBoer after 160 games. And then Kelly McCrimmon kind of implied that, Pete DeBoer, Leonard was his guy. But it's like, well, the coaches can't trade goalies. So it's kind of a clusterfuck there. What happened with this organization over the last few years, Biz?
If I played fantasy hockey and I was a general manager, this is how my team would look. And that's why I don't play fantasy hockey. This has been an absolute clusterfuck. I think it's an understatement to call it a mismanagement of assets. I love the Golden Knights, and I want them in playoffs every single year. I love how rowdy their fans are. I love how everybody hates their guts. But I can't sugarcoat it. This is absolute rubbish management. I have nothing against the guys who have made the decisions they've made, but there's no loyalty in the organization to the players. I don't know what the trickle effect down that has on the guys and maybe how the guys feel in the room about the environment, but this has become a laughing stock, and everybody shitting on them online. It's really well deserved. And because they're so hated, they have just been getting shit on more and more and more. Now, am I hoping that it ends up working out for them? Yeah, because I want them in playoffs and I want them to have success. But I don't know, man. You can't keep turning over personnel and expect there to be, I guess like a core of guys who can fucking get the job done with. And that's really all I can say about it.
Well, they better, I don't want to say win a Stanley Cup, but they better go on a couple runs, because the future with all these draft picks they've given up is going to be bleak, dude. And what?
Read it off. Didn't they get Tatar for Suzuki, a first rounder? They gave up the Vezina winning goalie, got nothing in return. They gave up a 30-goal scorer for nothing in return.
And then what they gave to get Pacioretty, I think that was part of the Suzuki, wasn't it? And then they get rid of Pacioretty for absolutely nothing. So it's like the future looks so bleak in terms of being able to bring in prospects and grow your farm system and win the way that good teams have won, the way Pittsburgh's won, the way Tampa won with all those guys winning a Calder Cup and Cooper. It's like they are just going for the quick fix every single year. And at some point that all ends and comes crumbling down. And you look at a franchise that's left holding absolutely nothing and not even a Stanley Cup ring. So the lack of loyalty is one thing that's so odd. It's like signing there. It's like, dude, at any moment in time, they're willing to straight up gas pipe you. So it's kind of hard to imagine like a guy signing a long-term deal there and then seeing himself actually finish it out. The thing is, they have a good roster. Like, the team is good, and Cassidy's coming in there, and he's proven that he can get a team to win. He can get a team at least to get to the Cup final, and he's able to like produce a team that can be at the top of the standings. But when I look at actually like the next 5 to 10 years, it's like, holy shit, this team could end up being horrible at one point. And so as a fan, you want your team to win, but as you get to know players and you start rooting for different names and not just the laundry, it's kind of like, why do they keep shipping out all these guys who they brought in and then played pretty well? And then the goalie situation, it's a very confusing team to try to follow because you never know what's coming next. The only thing you know is that they'll give up assets for basically nothing in the end.
Yeah, they're about as loyal as that junior kid's mom.
Yeah, it was this Frank Saravalli quote. He said, players that Vegas has been forced to unload for no or minimal return due to salary cap crunch. Pacioretty, Dadonov, Marc-Andre Fleury, Nate Schmidt, Paul Stastny, Cody Eakin. And I just mentioned the Pacioretty trade. I forgot to get to Todd. They gave up a first, a second, and a third to get him and included him in the Pacioretty deal. So, yeah, it's piss poor management of assets.
Okay, so that's what it was. I butchered that off the hop, but I was just trying to list off things that it's like, it's not good. It's not good asset management, and that's the way it is.
No, is this going to affect players wanting to go there, or it's like if you're going to get a deal, you're going to go there anyway?
I don't know because it is such a sick place to play, and like the team's good right now, but if you're looking for big time stability, and then maybe there's certain guys who can get a no move clause and they're like, whatever, I don't care. But in terms of other guys, you do have to question it, but it is an awesome place to live and the fan base is crazy and the arena's awesome and they've had some success. So I won't say it's a huge factor.
All righty then. There was a whole bunch of other teams that made some signings. I mean, we try to put the bigger ones up top, but we're going to run through a few other ones here. If you guys want to chime in, just jump in. But let's see. And we don't have every single sign. There's just too many.
I'll say this, just like I said about Toronto, it's probably a strong possibility if this team is unable to make playoffs or even go past the first round that they might have new management the following season. Because like there's no one else to blame that they've had control of absolutely everything from the beginning. And if it turns into a clusterfuck, it's that. And I'm going to go back to what I said, though. I love how everybody hates them, but I am a Golden Knights fan, and I hope that they fucking rub everybody, all the doubters' nose and shit. But I just don't know if it's going to happen.
We shall see. Let's see. The Dallas Stars, they signed forward Mason Marchment, 4-year deal worth $18 million. Colin Miller, the defenseman, 2-year, $3.7 million. Jason Robertson's RFA, God knows what he's going to get. And then I pulled this stat out because they spent over $19 million last year for 95 points between Sagan and Ben. So they still got a few more years left on those deals. Something to keep an eye on going down the line. Calgary, they signed defenseman.
I just want to say I'm happy for that Marchment kid. Like, after everything he's been through over the last couple of weeks, man, for him to get a big deal, man, finally a bounce, because I can't imagine what him and his family are going through. But as far as those two guys you just mentioned, between Ben and Sagan, Sagan's been coming off a lot of injury-riddled seasons. I hope that he's able to get a full summer of training, and I think that he's a guy who could maybe get back to where he was at one point. As far as Ben, I mean, the age and also the injuries maybe being a bit of a factor, and he's just not getting any quicker, right? And it's just a league that's just so fucking fast now. But who knows?
Calgary, they signed defenseman Nikita Zadorov, 2-year, $7.5 million. Matthew Tkachuk, still RFA. He didn't file for arbitration, but I'm sure they're going to re-up him. I know people are talking about him getting moved, but Calgary would be, I think, foolish to do that. That'd be like only the Blackhawks would do something like that these days. Florida Panthers signed Mark Stoll to a 1-year deal for the Buffalo Special, $750K. Same thing with Mike Del Zotto, $750K. And they also signed Eric Stahl to a PTO. Pretty interesting. He didn't play last year. I know his brother's down there. Well, you know what he got left in the tank? What did he do last year? Did he skate?
We've been on a PTO before.
Yeah, and that's how me and Biz formed the clown crew in St. Louis. Didn't he play in the Olympics for Canada?
He did, yeah, but professionally he didn't play anywhere. Yeah.
No, I mean, the guy obviously still wants to play. He's still got that drive. We'll see if he has anything left to give. They had Joe Thornton there. It would be a similar type role, I think. So who knows? PTO doesn't mean shit, but with guys who've had careers like that, it means a little bit more, if that makes any sense, where it's like, all right, come on in. Let's see what we got. We believe that we may need you or want you for the year, but nothing in terms of willing to let you or have you sign a deal right now.
Yeah, Jack Johnson went on a PTO to Colorado last year, lifted the Stanley Cup, and then had his kids eat ice cream out of it the other day. So you never know. The Blackhawks, we did mention them earlier. They signed Max Domi, 1 year deal, $3 million. Andreas Anthony, same 1 year, $3 million. If you were a free agent, other than money, what would make you sign with the Blackhawks?
The chance to play a lot and then maybe sign a big ticket because of the amount you played, you were able to produce.
Unlimited wolf.
So those those two guys, they're going to play more than they would on a really good team. And then all of a sudden, if they have a big year, they can possibly get traded at the deadline, maybe go on a Stanley Cup run, and boom, next thing you know, you're signing a 3 or a 4 year deal. So it's all about getting opportunity, but it's also like maybe they don't have much else going, and all right, let's go to Chicago and be on the worst team in the league.
Now, when you sign a 1 year deal, like you mentioned the prospect of getting traded, is that something that your agent might negotiate with the team? Like, hey, if you guys are out of it, can you maybe get, put them up somewhere else if they can? Okay.
I'm going to say no. I don't know. Okay. I'm not an agent, but that's like, you're signing a 1 year deal for a reason. You don't have much leverage in terms of asking them to guarantee that if you're playing well, they'll trade you.
Okay. Thought it was interesting to ask. Anaheim Ducks, they signed Ryan Strome, 5 year, $25 million. Frank Vetrano got a 3 year deal worth just under $11 million. Congratulations.
Good for him. Good for both those guys. Nice.
I mean, he was getting scratched in Florida throughout the season and then was awesome with the Rangers. Gets a good ticket, so that's awesome to see.
Yeah, good stuff. They still need to add some D in Anaheim, but they got $30 million in cap space, so interested to see what Pat Verbeek does with that going forward.
They're just starting the rebuild.
Yeah.
Let's see. Buffalo signed restricted free agent forward Victor Olofsson, 2 years, $9.5 million. Defenseman Ilya Lyubushkin, 2 years, $5.5 million. Seattle's pretty active as well. They signed forward Andrei Burakovsky, gave him a 5 year, $27.5 million deal. Defenseman Justin Schultz, 2 years, $6 million. Goalie Martin Jones, God bless him, 1 year, $2 million. They were bad last year, man. Bad, worse than anybody thought. But how much improvement are they going to get? Not just off three guys, but just in general.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
unless Beniers comes in there and he's like, 70-point guy his rookie season, it's hard to see much of a step forward for that team.
Yeah, the most exciting thing I'm looking forward to is how him and if Shane Wright make the squad.
Yep.
And see what they can do. At least they have these young studs that we can pay attention to now. Mind you, they might send them back. So,
I mean, with Bedard being a Western Canadian kid in Seattle, it's like they should be doing whatever they can to tank and have a horrific year and get him.
And then get blindsided by the Coyotes getting it.
LA Kings, they brought Alex Edler back for a year, $1.5 million. Brendan Lemieux for another year, $1.35 million. Forward Kyle Grundstrom, 2 year, $2.6 million. But this is a team that I don't think they really needed to do too much, maybe a little bit of tinkering like this. They gave Kempe that deal. They got John Quick coming back. So they're going to slowly building back to respectability. Fiala, exactly, as well as him. San Jose, we mentioned they already lost Brett Burns. They signed Oscar Lindblom. Good for him. 2 years, $5 million after Philly bought him out. They forward Nico Sturm, 3 years, $6 million. That's pretty much it for most of the big signings. Let me ask you, Biz, which team is the most improved since the Cup ended?
Based on standings, I mean, I think Ottawa's got to be at the top of my list. I just, getting DeBrincat, who's a 40-goal scorer. They got Claude Giroux. They got some leadership in the room. And am I forgetting a name? Detroit's another.
I think Detroit's a lot better.
I'd have to say Ottawa. Short answer.
Which team other than Chicago got worse, if anyone?
Well, I already said I don't. St. Louis got worse in my opinion, but I still think they could potentially make playoffs.
Okay.
I don't have them making playoffs right now. I want to see how the start of the season goes, but I mean, yeah, that was the only thing that came off the top of my head.
Vegas definitely got worse. They gave away Max Pacioretty and got nothing back.
Right, but then they get probably a healthy Mark Stone back, and they were a little bit, and they get a Eichel coming off a full season. So
you know who might be worse is Tampa
losing Palat. Yeah. I mean, he was fucking a monster for them last year.
I mean, Palat and who was on D? Did they lose a D? Ruda, but no, that's Tampa's not much worse. That's hard. That's a hard one.
It is.
I mean, the Bruins certainly don't look great. Although if they get they get Krejci and Bergeron. Has Bergeron said anything lately?
They haven't confirmed anything, but the speculation is very heavy. They're both going to come back. In which case they do, then you could see why they didn't do much of anything on free agency.
And Pavel Zacha received a phone call from Bergeron right after he was traded. So you gotta imagine a guy who's doing that's probably coming back next season.
Yeah.
Good point, G. Good point. All right, unrestricted free agents still available out there. Nazem Kadri, obviously, John Klingberg, Phil Kessel, Nino Niederreiter, Calvin DeHaan. So, surprised Klingberg is still out there with, or no?
A little bit. Like I said, I think for him to get big money, it's probably going to be with a weaker team. Maybe I actually think you're going to see him sign with a team who's not very good. I said Seattle. I don't know. You hear other teams flying around. I don't know why he's still out there. Besides the fact that maybe the money's not where he thought it was.
All right, one more name I want to bring up before we move along. Where does Phil Kessel end up next year?
Oh, that's a great question. I got asked that a couple times at that Pink Whitney event. I have no clue. I'm not an insider.
He's a wild card too. So
back in Pittsburgh. Back in Pittsburgh, maybe. They're making a cup run here.
What an answer.
Bring him back.
What an answer.
This story actually,
I'll pay his salary if they bring him back.
This one just broke right before we started the show. Edzo Olczyk, our pal, he's leaving Chicago. He's going to go with Root Sports. He's going to be doing Seattle Kraken broadcast next year. 15 years he had been doing the Blackhawks, but I don't know if he knows if he sees the writing on the wall, if his deal was up or whatever, but he's going to be doing the Seattle games. He'll still be doing the national stuff, obviously. But I think the big draw for him was John Forsland, who, of course, used to be the Carolina announcer. They let him go, went to Seattle, and, they got a familiarity with each other. So, yeah, Edzo off to Seattle. Good luck to him, man. I don't know what they got for horse tracks out there, but I'm sure he'll find one or two.
He's
find
one
something.
of the GOATs. He's
an absolute beauty.
He's unbelievable at what he does, and I'm sure he probably didn't want to call Chicago games next year. And on top of that, with everything that went on with the organization, I want to say that he was at that town hall meeting when that whole fiasco broke out with the horrible answer by one of the owners. And he might just be fed up with the way that things are being handled there. And I want to say his name was in the ring to potentially become GM there. And when he didn't get that, he's probably like, well, I don't need to have any more loyalty to this organization. So thanks for everything. And see you later.
See ya. Andrew Brunette was named associate coach for the New Jersey Devils. And one more hockey note here. Agent Pat Brisson told The Athletic that his client, Pierre-Luc Dubois, would very much like to play for Montreal. The 24-year-old Winnipeg Jet is currently a restricted free agent. He just finished a 2-year, $10 million contract. His qualifying offer is going to be $6.65 million. He's already told the Jets that he's going to be testing unrestricted free agency in 2 more years. He had 60 points in 81 games played last year. This kid's maybe getting a reputation for being I don't know. I know guys like to manipulate and use leverage when they have it, but kind of like, oh, man, this guy's always something with this guy or what?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't happy in Columbus. Now it's hard to be happy in Winnipeg, although we mentioned that's where his family lives, correct?
It was his dad's, I know, the coach of the Manitoba Moose. He's one of the coaches for Manitoba.
So it's like that team's in a tough spot. Fuck. They got worse over free agency, right? I don't know, but in terms of when he's on the ice, there's games that he's so dominant, and then games that there's probably a little more that you're looking for. So it's hard to really be under contract for this many more years and then already be saying like where you want to play and things. But if the agent's able to get it done, that's what he's getting paid to do. So without being on a team personally or talking to anyone in the world of like scouting or management, I don't know what the opinion around the league is on him.
All right, that wraps up the hockey talk, and now we got to move it to what was formerly the British Open. The Open, Whit, you get the floor.
I actually don't think it was ever. I think in America we created the British Open. It's always been the Open Championship, but So St. Andrews is the home of golf. It's where the R&A, I think it's the Royal and Ancient, like their offices are, where their headquarters are, and it's a historic place. I unfortunately have never been there. I've been to Scotland with a bunch of guys. We did like Turnberry. We did the other Trump course there. We did Castle Stewart. Some other ones that we did Royal Dornoch. It was amazing, but we weren't able to do the old course. So I've never been. I've heard, it's funny, I've heard some things where people love it and the experience, and it's 9 holes out this direction and then 9 holes back the opposite direction. There have been people who played it and don't love it. I think it's with some tough weather, it can be like relatively easy, but
looks like a chip and putt.
Yeah, it's like, that's the thing. This course is not long, and you need weather. It's like all those courses over there are weather dependent to make them difficult for the top players in the world. It's like, it is so easy. So I'm a fan of watching an Open that is swirling wind and rain and guys having a battle of the elements and maybe the winning score being 7-8 under. When you watch a tournament when the weather's as nice as it was in St. Andrews this weekend, it's like these guys are literally hitting 360-yard drives. The place is so burnt out and fast, and then they're just hitting wedges onto every single hole. But where they put the pins made it difficult. And I'm not going to lie, I was really rooting for Rory McIlroy. I love Rory. I always have. Seems like a genuine person. Seems like somebody who, if you met him and ever had a beer with him, you'd probably enjoy your time with him. He's just, I don't know, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. But now I think it's been 8 or 9 years since he's won a major, and he had the chance. And like watching the final round, I actually am a Cam Smith fan too, but watching the final round, it was like he just couldn't make a putt. It's unbelievable when you watch these guys, and people say like golf's all about putting. That is actually not true. Golf is about your tee ball and getting the ball in play, because it doesn't matter how well you putt if you're putting for bogey and double bogey. In the grand scheme of things, you got to be able to get off the tee. Well, when you get to the PGA Tour and the highest level of golf, all these guys can get off the tee, and then that's when putting separates them. And you watch this final round, this fucking Cameron Smith. The guy was draining. He's draining 15-footers like it was a 3-footer. It was just so money every single time. And Rory's hitting the ball pretty well. He shot 2 under, 2 birdies, 16 pars, but it just wasn't enough. When you got a guy chasing you down and shooting 64 to win an Open, it's like, how do you not just tip your cap to Cameron Smith? Well, at the same time, almost feeling bad for Rory McIlroy that he played well. It just wasn't good enough. His quote after was perfect. He said, I don't think I really made any mistakes out there today. I didn't do anything great either. He said, I didn't do anything bad. I just didn't do anything great. And it just kind of was tough to watch, because the entire golfing universe, it felt like, was really rooting for Rory. It's like at the home of golf to win an Open championship, it really cements a legacy. Tiger did it twice. Jack Nicklaus did it. It's like the greatest players have won an Open at St. Andrews, and Rory had it 4-shot lead. It was him and Hovland tied, and they were 4 shots ahead of Cameron Smith and Cameron Young. And Hovland fell apart, and Rory had it and just kind of got gunned down by the better player. And so the 17th hole was amazing. It's like called the road hole. It's actually pretty crazy. There's like a legit road inbounds. So if you miss the green right, it's like a 500-yard par 4. You hit over a hotel. And then if you miss the green right, you're in a road. It's like impossible. And Cameron Smith hit a great drive, horrible shot. He ends up like behind this bunker where you can't even try to chip it. If you chip it, it's going to hit the green and go long. And he putted it to about 15 feet, which is probably as close as he could get it. And then he made the par putt on 17 on that hole. It was like, and then he makes this unbelievable 2-putt on 18 for birdie, and Rory had to make 2 on 18 and couldn't get it done. So not only does the guy not win, he doesn't even finish second place. But I thought it was a cool tournament. I don't love the Open when there isn't bad weather, but just the fact that Rory was involved and kind of didn't collapse but didn't get it done, it made it entertaining. And it is nice when you watch that tournament. It ends at like 3 o'clock local time or Eastern time, so you kind of have the rest of the day. But I don't know if you guys saw any of it.
Yeah, Goat Ranch. I'm not watching that.
Yeah, I
exactly.
saw a little
People
bit.
were disgusted. So non-golfers are like, what is this fucking golf course?
Speaking of that, the other tour,
the Live Tour.
Now they're going to get this Smith guy. He's going over.
It sounds, I read an article, guy at Barstool Banks wrote that there's reports that he's getting $90 million to go to Live Tour. They grabbed David Faraday from NBC to be their analyst, too. That's a great get. I think Faraday's hilarious. He used to have that TV show on Golf Channel that was funny. And then there's rumors swirling about Hideki Matsuyama, which would be, I mean, that would be.
What's he ranked?
World rankings, I don't know where he's at. I'm going to say top 20. But
so how somebody said 250 million for
because I think with Hideki Matsuyama, he is the biggest celebrity. Yeah, it's Japan. It's like he is the most famous man in Japan. And then the PGA Tour looks at global marketing and looks at a market like Japan and it's like, oh my God, I think if they lost Matsuyama, it might be their biggest loss. I guess Cameron Smith would be their biggest. Dustin Johnson, kind of back down of his career, still a player, still was in the hunt for this tournament. Every other guy, I mean, there's some good players. A lot of them are on the real back nine, though. But if you get Cam Smith, who won the Players' Championship and then just won the Open to leave the PGA Tour, and then Matsuyama, who represents an entire country and region in terms of like awareness to the PGA Tour and fandom, it is getting ugly for the tour.
Yeah,
to see this. Yeah. And I heard these live tours are so fun to go to. It's weird because you watch them online and it's like it's a shotgun start. It's different. The announcers, if they have Faraday, that's a big deal. But I think going to the events are unreal. They're blasting music the whole time. It seems like a party. There's one in Boston. I'm going to check it out.
We're in Boston.
Well, it's in Bolton. It's at the International, which is actually a goat ranch of a golf course. I couldn't stand it, but they're going there, and it should be a time and a half, I guess.
Well, I would imagine if the PGA is going to certain lengths in order to threaten guys for not being able to come back to the PGA, they're also probably threatening certain golf courses to not allow live events on North American soil.
Yeah, I don't think any of the courses that the tour are going on would ever be having a live event.
Yeah. Okay. Well, boys, I got to get going here because I'm the security system's going to lock in here at Young's Insurance, and I don't want to be caught inside because I need to get to the sandbagger.
See you. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Great outline. You had all the signings. You were buzzing.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you so much for all you do in not only helping create Chiclets Cup, but all the behind the scenes work. We should thank also Live Event Lisa. Can you fire off a bunch more names of everybody behind the scenes who makes these
Taylor
things?
Taylor Ray has been running this whole thing. Justin Mancini, Caitlin Walker. There's so many names of people behind the scenes. Hannah Crow. There's MB. There's so many names. This tournament has grown so much. There's so many people working on it now. But Biz, before we wrap up, what is your official prediction? Do you take down Noseface in the Chiclets Cup?
That coward with no loyalty, with that half-chewed caramel on his face, is getting taken down in Buffalo, and I cannot wait to do it.
It's time, Biz. It's time.
It's time. And I want to thank Terry Ryan and Terry Ryan Sr. for assembling the crew that he has. I will be manning the third line, which is the fourth line, technically in ball hockey terms, with Ollie and Jacob, the on-the-bench guys, and then our top six are lethal. And we're tough, and those rinks are small. So if if you don't think you're going to catch another fucking elbow to that ugly snout of yours, oh baby, I hope you assembled an all-star crew because you're going to need it, you sack of shit.
All righty,
that's what I got to say about that. We will see you in Buffalo.
Absolutely.
Open to the public Friday. Come for the live show. Boston Levi, Dante spinning the decks. Thursday, one of the biggest announcements in Chiclets history is going down at the Labatt Brew House. I've already mentioned the Pink Whitney tour dates. I'm done talking. It's time to play.
We all are. Have a great week.
Let's go.
See you in Buffalo.
All right, peace.